Having been born and raised in Fargo, and now raising my son here, I have a deeper sense of what it means to be an active member of our community. The bonds we share, the stories we live, make us who we are. Hanson Runsvold, helping families look to the future with hope.
That was not the countdown to a new year. That was the countdown to your new countertops. Don't start a new year with your old, outdated house. Instead, call Surface Specialists of the Red River Valley today. In just a few hours, they can repair and refinish your outdated countertops, sink, tub, or shower. Call Surface Specialists of the Red River Valley at 701-526-3800.
Surface Specialists of the Red River Valley. Don't replace, repair, and refinish.
February is almost here, and February is all about hearts and love, and remembering that someone special on Valentine's Day with something unexpected. At Wimmer's Diamonds, we can help you find something little or something big, most certainly something wonderful to express your love. Stop in today and let us help you find the perfect unexpected gift. Wimmer's at the corner of 32nd Avenue and 45th Street in South Fargo.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at dacref.com.
Attention North Dakota veterans. Did you know there is free transportation provided to veterans for medical appointments? This service is at no cost to you and available in several highly rural counties throughout the state. Contact your county veteran service officer for further information. North Dakota Veterans Affairs, proudly serving veterans from around the state with additional resources.
This message is sponsored by the Department of Veteran Affairs and aired in cooperation by the North Dakota Broadcasters Association and this station.
Stop by Gateway Chevrolet and check out their great selection of in-stock Chevy cars and trucks ready for immediate delivery. Take advantage of invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Equinox and invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Silverados only at Gateway Chevrolet. Plus, find out about 2.9% financing on select Chevrolet models. That's right, 2.9% on select Chevrolets and invoice pricing on 2023 Equinox and Silverados at Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
KQWB, West Fargo, Fargo-Moorhead, and KPFX, HD3 Kindred, Bison 1660. Powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Buckforce. And here's what you need to know.
According to NBC Sports, Jets owner Woody Johnson would happily acquire quarterback Aaron Rodgers in a trade. The Dallas Morning News reports that running back Ezekiel Elliott would like to stay with the Dallas Cowboys and would be willing to take a pay cut in 2023. The Texans will be interviewing Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka and Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero a second time for their head coaching vacancy, while the Panthers are interviewing Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore for their team's head coaching vacancy. According to ESPN, Alabama's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Bill O'Brien will return to New England. He is being named the Patriots' offensive coordinator. Jamaica's government has turned to the FBI for help as it investigates a massive fraud case involving a private investment firm where $12.7 million belonging to renowned sprinter Usain Bolt has gone missing. I'm Monty Bolaños.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
And hello to everybody out there listening in. It is the Insiders on a Tuesday for you, back in live and local inside our Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Love being in this place and love being here today. Fun show ahead for you. It is a Tuesday, and it is going to be a big-time basketball show for you on the Insiders today. Plenty of NDSU basketball conversation, going through all that stuff. Obviously, today's the Summit League Shootaround Day. We all know that on a Tuesday. You're expecting that. We're prepared for it as well. Brought to you, of course, by Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. But a great guy there. We'll have some stuff on Bison basketball with NDSU UND week. It's hate week. It's in-state rivalry week on the hardwood. Got to prove once again that North Dakota is a Bison state and owned by North Dakota State. It was in 2022, and it will be again in 2023. Second time through the conference slate for both the men and the women starting this week. NDSU and UND, that's the first game for both squads, so they'll be facing a team for the second time this season as you make your second trip and the home stretch, you could say, of the conference season here in the 2022-2023 season. For the men, there's more games at home than on the road. I think for the women, it's the opposite. A few more games on the road than at home. The women are in a good spot, though, because all their tough road games, quote-unquote tough road games, are out of the way. They've already gotten 2 USD, got a win. Already gone 2 SDSU and gone 2 Oral Roberts. After this one against UND, and UND undefeated at home for the women, this will be the final, really, really tough team who's really good at home for the women's basketball team. So they got some of the tough road games out of the way, quote-unquote, and hopefully a great back half of the Summit League schedule for both the men and the women, Rob Hipp.
Need that. Welcome in. Andy, good to be here today.
Good to be here.
Micah kind of got things a little... I was kind of going back to my youth, my really young age earlier off before we got going. Micah was super excited about wrestling today. So, it kind of took me back to my old days of playing the Nintendo and it used to be back in the day the what was it? It was WWE or WWF, but they got sued by the World Wildlife Foundation, and that's why they had to change it to the WWE. So I do know a little bit of wrestling history there, Micah, but you took me back to 10 years old, man. And how old are you, 30?
And Micah's a big Royal Rumble guy, right? Rumble?
Royal Rumble this Saturday.
Yep. See, you said you were, at least, back in your youth, but are you much of one now?
No.
Is that something Braylon's watching and picking up from the top rope? Baby Braylon's jumping in there? Or?
Baby Braylon is now saying thank you whenever you hand her things. So that is where she's at. If she would watch wrestling, she would not be saying thank you. She would be picking up toys and throwing them at your face.
Fair enough. That's part of it. Just pick up a steel chair or something, right? Is that still a thing? Steel cage death match or something like that?
Yeah, we have steel cage matches, Hell in a Cell match, elimination chamber matches. It's all.
See, I am not a wrestling person, not at all. And wrestling. I know it's got I won't even say niche following. It's got a very big following, but it's just not. I think people are either you're in or you're out. There's not many people that are I kind of just watch it here and there. Either you're 100% in, or you're just no, it's not my thing. And maybe you watch a random thing when your buddy's hey, we got to come over and do this, but you don't really dive into it. I feel like that's wrestling.
And there's more organizations than just WWE. There's a lot more outside of that. So it's a very large niche of people that watch it. And if you think about it, it's just live stunts. That's the best way to think about it. Think of it like a movie, live stunts, live action.
Yeah, but the backyard stuff is legitimately. The real stuff is really dangerous. We know that guys have passed away.
It is dangerous.
Owen Hart was one.
You can't take away that.
But the backyard stuff is really dangerous. My question is, and not to go on this rant about wrestling to get started here this morning, because I don't want to throw off what Andy had scheduled, but how did you get into this discussion this morning? Because I just came in and you were talking wrestling.
Oh, a party that Andy might
apparently there's a lot of people that have Royal Rumble get-togethers, parties, and they just watch it and they bet on it and they have just eat, sit around and eat chips, and it's kind of like the Super Bowl for wrestling.
Yeah,
professional wrestling. Now NDSU wrestling, I get behind that a ton. I love watching that stuff because that team has been
real
phenomenal.
Wrestling.
Yeah.
Don't call it professional wrestling, because if you talk to guys that are in wrestling, they will get upset. Mark Erickson told me, he's Rob, don't, because he used to wrestle at NDSU and know Mark really well. He goes, do not ever call it professional wrestling.
Professional acting wrestling.
Yeah.
Live stuntmen.
Yeah, live stunt wrestling.
WWE superstars. That's why they don't call them wrestlers. They call them WWE superstars instead of WWE wrestlers.
See, I don't know the terminology. This is a me thing. So if we have huge WWE Royal Rumble fans out there listening, encourage you, call us up. Epic Companies Hotline 701-476-1660. Am I missing out? Am I missing out? Because I've never been one. I very casually would randomly watch it when I was younger, just happened to be on it. You were asking me who I know. I'm like, John Cena was a guy. I know that. And then I knew, like, the older people that apparently aren't a thing anymore, like the Big Show.
Most of them are retired.
Hulk Hogan, he's done.
Yeah,
he was just on the show last night, but...
Yeah, those random ones. I don't know much of anything that's going on right now. So if we got any big fans out there, what am I missing? Feel free to call us up, text us on that Epic Companies hotline as well. 701-476-1660. Email in, Rick Electric email inbox, open for you today. Send your thoughts. Should I or should I not? We'll leave it to the people.
Maybe that's
should
the
I or
poll
should
today.
I not go to a Royal Rumble party get-together thing?
I warn you that, like, sometimes you will feel like you're out of the loop because there's just, like, storylines that you're not, like, obviously deep into. So you might feel like that at the Royal Rumble, but just watch it for the entertainment factor. You'll have fun.
Is this kind of like if I went to Avengers and I didn't see any of the movies leading up to Endgame, I just watched Endgame, I'm like, I don't really know what's going on, I'm just trying to catch up?
It could be a little like that, but storylines aren't always woven into every little part of the match, of the Royal Rumble match. Not like the Avengers, because the Avengers, you have to see stuff before.
When you go there live, it's a different story. I will say, I'm not a big fan, Micah. I was just joking with you, by the way, but I'm not a big fan of watching, but being there live, I've went to a couple. It is pretty exciting live because there's the pyrotechnic display. We were down in San Antonio at a match. It was pretty sweet stuff.
It's entertainment value is off the charts. They do a great job with that. You know, the light show, the craziness that goes on. I've just never been able to get past the fact that, like, I know it's scripted. And
that's what you have to pay. That's why you should pay attention to it, because you're like, okay, where are they going? Does the story make sense?
Like,
just like when
some
you
of, like,
pick
the
apart a
body
movie.
slams and stuff. I'm like, I know it's fake. Like, he's not really getting hit with a chair, or he's not really getting, like, bent in half. Basically, like, I know it's
not all the time.
planned.
Some of the hits, they're called bumps.
Yeah.
Some of the bumps are real. Some of them are not. Like, you can take away the punching. That's just for showmanship and all that. That's for the kids. But outside of that, there is, like, when you're getting slammed to the ground, that doesn't feel good. Like, when getting slammed in your back doesn't feel good.
Well, it's like in '99, you know, when Owen Hart tragically fell to his death. He was up very high. This was in '99, and he died, and people thought that it was part of the act. It took a while for people there live to realize, like, oh my gosh, this guy literally just fell, and it was not part of the act, and he died from it.
Reality.
So, it was unfortunate.
It's all dangerous.
Circumstance. Yeah.
It's all very dangerous stuff, no doubt. So leave it up to the people. Am I missing out? Should I go to this or should I not go to it? I think just leave it up to the people. I mean,
put a poll?
Call in. Maybe we put a poll up. Maybe let's do that on the Bison 1660 account. I don't think that's much of a... Again, this is me thinking that's not much of a poll question. Maybe it is. Maybe our listening audience is huge into this, and I'm missing out. This is all something I got to kind of get to know. So apparently that's this weekend. That's big news in the wrestling community. Micah Bindy's been going off on it here today. Also, funny joke. You said I had something planned for the show. That was a good one. But we're going to talk a little wrestling. That's no big problem for me early on in the show. We do have some things planned. It is a very big Bison basketball day on the Insiders for you. Obviously, it's the Summit League Shootaround. Brian Sean going to join us at 11:30. Talk elongated. Usually we have two different guests on the Summit League Shootaround, but there's only one game this week for NDSU, and I figured, let's really make sure we highlight both NDSU men and women on this one, with it being NDSU versus UND week. So Brian Sean will join us for an elongated conversation on our Summit League Shootaround. Looking forward to that with B. Sean. Always great to have him on the show. And then at noon, we'll have assistant coach for NDSU men's basketball, Josh Sash, on. I loved our conversations with Josh. This year, Micah Bindy's done a great job with you, Rob, on the Bison Shootaround pregame show for men's basketball. That was me last couple of years, so I had Josh Sash on once a week, it seemed like, for the pregame show, and talking to him all the time. Haven't got a chance to talk to him at all this year, really. Just a couple of texts here and there after a game or something, like congratulations, well done, good luck on the season, that kind of stuff. So it'd be fun to have him on the show and kind of pick his brain a little bit. I'm sure it's been fun for you to get to know Sash.
Yeah, and I get to pick his brain, every game there at halftime, because he comes on and talks to us and kind of gives his thoughts, and it's always great to have that other perspective, not from your head coach always, of course, but then to have Josh Sash as the assistant coach, and he does a great job with these young men. I've really enjoyed getting to know him. We have some mutual connections. Again, small world, as he was coaching at Temple Junior College, just right outside the area where I grew up in Georgetown, north of Austin in Texas. So It's just amazing how all these paths cross together. That's what I always tell people.
You're in North Dakota. That happens here.
You're literally, and this is something, off the wall, but you are always five. Someone taught me this, Andy, and it's true. You are 5 handshakes away from whoever you want to meet in life. And if you think about that, you really are, and you'll find a way to do that. I wanted to meet Governor Perry in Texas. I called a guy. He said, well, he's going to be at this event. That was the first handshake. Second handshake, I got to meet Governor Perry the second handshake. So whoever you want to meet in life, if you think about it, you're literally within 5 handshakes from meeting that person.
Or 2.
Or 2 in this case.
Or 2. You never know. Got to be the right 2 handshakes, though, if you're going to get 2.
And the reason I meant that is because all these paths cross together. Here I am, 1,200 miles from my home back in Texas, meeting Josh Sash, and he was 30 minutes away from me.
We were talking about great broadcasters before the show, and we were both talking about Kevin Harlan. He's on like my bucket list of people I want to meet because he used to be a Timberwolves broadcaster. If I shook your hand and Micah's hand, I don't think I'd meet Kevin Harlan.
You might, because I have a connection out of Westwood 1, and so through that connection, that could connect. So there you go. You shook my hand.
But I have to shake other people's hands for that.
Yeah, but you're still getting there.
Okay, so if I shake just Micah's hand,
you won't get there.
I won't get there.
No,
but I gotta shake the right
you gotta
2
shake
hands.
The right hand.
There. Okay, makes sense.
What is it like? It's like the Kevin Costner challenge. Kevin Bacon
6
challenge.
Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yep, that's I believe the movie. So there you go on that one. I'm a movie buff now. I just knew that one off the top of my head. I've become more of a movie buff during women's basketball season because Jory Collins, head coach, huge into movies, big movie guy. He's given me a movie usually every flight. Watched a whole bunch of different ones. Watched Young Guns for the first time this last trip. Gave me an insight into La Bamba. We'll be watching that, I think, on our next trip, wherever we go out of town. So, exactly. It's about the guy who sings that song, apparently. So.
I moved away from the microphone, by the way, when I started singing that.
Yeah.
I didn't want our numbers
next
to go down.
Go, further into the mic, we'll turn you up, and we'll just let you sing the whole song. So that's the show for you, though. Josh Sash at noon. Also around 12:30, I think we'll go NFL heavy for a segment. We're going to do a new thing kind of every week here, just notes and quotes, some few storylines. And there's a lot of things obviously happening with it being NFC and AFC Championship week. I got some storylines out there, some quotes from the NFL, some notes from the NFL. There's a lot of coaching things going on, the coaching carousel picking up. It looks like your boy, Dan Quinn from Ya Cowboys, is going to be a head coach somewhere. He's got a second interview with a couple of people, and I think he's interviewed for like every head coaching job out there. He might be the first big domino to fall that some teams are waiting to see if he says yes. And if he does, then they get him. If they don't, then they move on to the next person. It might be that first big domino in the NFL coaching carousel. And Tom Brady had some news on his podcast, the Let's Go podcast he does with the Larry Fitzgerald out there. Not broke news, but was kind of frustrated with the whole will you, won't you retire thing a little bit. So we'll play some notes and some quotes for you on the NFL coming up about 12:30 as well on the program. But last night, we had our Bison basketball radio shows. We have the head coach David Richmond on there for an hour, 6 to 7. We have head coach Jory Collins. And we've been bringing a women's basketball player in the last couple of weeks as well, starting at 7 o'clock till around 7:30, a little bit later, a little past 7:30 most weeks. But bring them in for the coaches shows on Monday nights. Those have been great. If you don't listen in, I encourage you to. I loved Jonas and Moorhead calling into both shows. Fans out there, you want to hear from these coaches, these players, listen to the show, but call in as well. You can ask a question. We definitely leave the phone lines open for you, so we appreciated that last night. But they were great shows. What'd you take away from the men's show with Coach Richmond? They're coming off a week where you had 2 tough losses. You don't like losing games at home, especially both games at home during a weekend. But this team is young. They're going through some ups and downs. They've had some great ups this year, 5-game winning streak, but now a little bit of a down and trying to bounce back this week.
Well, the first takeaway is if you were Bruce from West Fargo and you called, don't hang up next time, because we had a call come in and Bruce hung up. So, Bruce, stay with us next time. But, joking aside, it's just a young team, and Coach will tell you there's no excuses. The process, we talk about that every single show, and what is that process? What is Bison basketball? And it's just playing fundamentals, not turning the ball over, making your free throws, those kind of things. And it's been opportunities where guys, for whatever reason, just have not played well at home versus Division I opponents this season. And Coach talked about that's just tough. But look, these guys are going to get it together. They're going to find a way to get it together. They had that 5-game string in a row where they won those games, 2 lost. But I think that they're going to come back. They're going to battle hard and take care of business versus UND on Friday. So we highlighted that. We talked a lot about the coaches versus cancer. Just great awareness there for cancer screening. And UND and NDSU are going to team up again for that on Friday. So that will continue on. And it's good just to talk about the things off the court as well. It's tough, Andy, as you know, you get into games, and whenever you're losing games, it's tough to sit there and talk about the games a lot. You want to move past those and figure out, okay, what are we doing wrong and how do we move past it? And that's what it comes down to. But enjoyed catching up with Coach as always. He does a great job. His staff does a great job with these young men, and I'm not concerned. It's easy to be a fan and sit back and be frustrated. I know Coach's staff is frustrated, but they'll find a way to make this work.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that game. They've had a lot of success the last couple of years against UND. Obviously got a big win against them earlier this year in Grand Forks and won that one going away. I think held them to 49
held them
points,
49.
I believe, which is their best defensive effort of the season. That kind of, that was the catalyst to start that 5-game winning streak for them. And then, on the women's side, it was just great to have in Jory Collins once again, but the last couple of weeks we've been bringing a player in. It was great to get Elle Evans, the freshman phenom, in there for a bit and pick her brain a little bit about what was going on for her this freshman year, how she's been able to develop and adapt to the college game a bit. When you're a true freshman, it takes a little while to get going, but not for her. She just came in right away, literally started day one, hit the game-winning shot in game number 1, the game-sealing or somewhat clinching free throws as well. Came in and had an instant impact, just scored 23 a season and career high for her against Kansas City in a victory, too. And it seems like she's a player that can really kind of carry you in a game with Evan Hamlin's having one of those off nights, too, which is important because you can't just rely on one person to kind of carry you every single game. And Elle Evans has been able to come in and be a consistent scorer and a consistent threat. And I picked her brain on why she chose NDSU, because she had some big offers out there. She had other offers to go to other places, even in the Summit League. But, NDSU was in early on her. Jory Collins kind of recapped his thoughts the first time he saw tape of Elle. And for those that don't know, Elle Evans, she's a freshman from Edwardsville, Illinois, so she's not from North Dakota or the upper Minnesota area, so it was a little bit more foreign to her. She didn't know much about North Dakota State basketball or what was happening. She said, I knew North Dakota was a state. That was about my knowledge right there. That was about it. But quickly learned a lot about it. She loved her visit here and ended up choosing NDSU over some other schools, some other offers, but she's a 6'3" guard. She's kind of the Grant Nelson for the women a little bit in terms of just that long, lengthy player, and not a player you see very often that is that tall that is a guard. You see players that tall all the time, but they're not playing in the guard position and handling the basketball and shooting threes and doing defensively what she's able to do as a true freshman. So she's been a great player to get to know, great person to get to know, and obviously a huge piece to why the women are having some success and starting every game as a true freshman, and just played 37 minutes in the last game. I've been really impressed by her, so that was a lot of fun having her in. If you didn't get a chance to listen to either shows, we do have them for you on our website, Bison1660, also on all of our social media accounts on Twitter and Facebook there. You can go back there, and you can also podcast them wherever you listen to podcasts, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that stuff available for you there. Just search Bison 1660 or NDSU women's or men's basketball, and you'll find that stuff pretty quickly. But love having them in, and that's a really good conversation, and looking forward to seeing how Bison Nation supports both the men and the women, because the men play Friday night. So pack the shack, get there for that one, make that a great hostile environment for the team up the road. And then the women play on Saturday at 1. So pack the minivan, pack the SUV, whatever you need to do. Get your butt up an hour and 15 minutes to Grand Forks, and let's make that road venue, a home atmosphere up there in the Betty, and walk away with another win. Jory Collins yet to lose to the in-state rival in his coaching career.
Are minivans still a thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Of course they are.
I don't see a lot of them.
You're about to.
I think
you're
there's
about to.
No, I see the SUVs. Like we have a Santa Fe, and I kind of feel that transition is there. You know?
I think maybe it has transitioned. The minivan has transitioned to more of that crossover
SUV,
vehicle,
yeah.
Not an SUV
Or if
completely.
you're
It's
like Suburban or something like that.
I don't even know what to call it. Like I just keep calling like the vehicles that you see all over the place. It's like 50% of the vehicles you ever see is like those crossover
it's a
type
crossover,
vehicles,
like a Santa Fe. Like we were looking and we bought a Hyundai Santa Fe. We like it. We love it. We want some more of it.
Hate to break it to you, with kid number 2 on the road, you're about to see a minivan.
No, we're not. We're saying the Santa Fe. Santa Fe's got some room, man.
See a minivan. Just might say. I mean, you got the automatic doors. You get to press the button, just closes by itself. Great technology.
That's what I had when I was
the
a kid.
Santa Fe drives itself.
Look
You
how
have to
I
be
turned
nervous.
out.
Yeah, see?
If you get a minivan, turn out like me.
Yeah, liking Royal Rumble and talking all sorts of nonsense. But there you go. Coaches' shows last night. A lot of fun. Encourage people to listen to those on Monday nights at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And again, call in. It's your chance to talk to the coaches. Don't get a chance to do that very often. We do it for you every single week. You can call in and ask a question, talk about these teams, and look forward to what they are doing. Before we take our break, though, we have to talk about the big news of the morning, and that is another coaching change for NDSU football and another position that's going to have to be filled for the Bison this next year. We talked a lot yesterday about SDSU with Coach Stig moving on to retirement, which means Jimmy Rogers is up and a new coach is into defensive coordinator, and you lose a receiver coach and a D-line coach and all the coaching positions they're going to have to turn over. We know the Bison have already lost David Braun to Northwestern. A great opportunity for him to be a defensive coordinator for a Big Ten program. That's phenomenal. Happy for him. And sad and happy, mixed feelings, but having to report that the report from Pete Thamel already this morning earlier that NDSU wide receivers coach Noah Pauley is set to become the next coach, I believe wide receivers coach as well, at Iowa State, and moving on as well to the Big 12, and a great opportunity for Noah. Phenomenal for him. It is not a meteoric rise, but it's a pretty quick rise for Noah Pauley. That you go back, what would it be, 5 years ago now, I guess, at Duluth as their offensive coordinator there in the NSIC Division II football. Great program there. I know Duluth does a really good job. But offensive coordinator there, Matt Entz brings him over to be the wide receivers coach, have success there, and now Iowa State. Like that's a pretty fast climb, it feels like. But he's done a great job. He's deserving of it. He's worthy of it, and we know he's one, a great coach, and two, a really good recruiter. And those two things, when you can do them, you do tend to rise pretty quickly. And the report today that Noah Pauley is going to be going to Iowa State. Obviously, Noah, I think one of his claims to fame or anything, but one thing you can put on the resume that I know Iowa State will put out on the media releases is Noah Pauley was the receivers coach for Christian Watson, who got drafted 34th and had the great career start to his career this season, obviously with the Green Bay Packers. And that's what's going to be put out there. But I think it's more than just Christian Watson. It's not Christian. He built up a receiver group that is really, really dangerous. It had Christian Watson. It has guys like a Zach Mathis who popped this year. Braylon Henderson's a young guy. We saw Eli Green with a big-time catch in a national championship game. We're excited for the future of Eli Green and some other young players in that position group. I've said it for the last couple of years. And have we seen it every game on the field? No. And that's the pushback you get from especially national reporters that will say, you talk about all the great receivers NDSU has, but we never really see them other than Christian Watson. We saw that for a couple of years. But it's hard to tell how good the receivers are because you just don't see them enough. And I get that because NDSU is going to run the football. But it's as deep of a group as it's ever been with Bryce Lance and Carson Hagerly, Mekhi Collins, Eli Green now starting to pop a little bit. Like, you have all those guys at the receiver position. He's built up that group really well. And sad to see him go because I've loved talking with him and picking his brain, but happy for Noah Pauley to get a chance at Iowa State to be their receivers coach, which means another coaching position's open for the Bison.
I think one other thing, too, and I know you'll mention this as well, he's just a great person. Also, I've got a chance to get to know him over my short time here so far in the last 7 months or so. But, yeah, he got that GA gig there at Minnesota Duluth, stayed there for a long time, and popped on, I think it was 2019 at NDSU, and he's been very successful and absolutely wish him the best. You're right. He has raised up some tremendous receivers, even guys who hit the portal like DJ Hart, who was really finding some rhythm this season as well. So excited for him, his family, those two little beautiful daughters of his. They're going to do great things, and I like keeping in touch with these guys and seeing how their futures go.
And when you mention that we're not always noticing the receivers, well, they're also blocking downfield. They're blocking their butts off, and they're doing a really, really good job of it, and that's Noah Pauley's work right there.
Tell you who did notice the receivers, Iowa State. They clearly noticed them. They said, man, that's done a really good job there. And that's one of the reasons he's being brought in. Obviously, like Rob said, he's also a great guy. I think that helps. He's probably made some good connections in that coaching world, clearly has. And I got a chance there to go to the Big 12. Happy for him. And a really good college town there as well. Being down there in Ames, that's really a fun place to be. And so I'm excited for him. Happy for his future. Sad to see him go, but now Matt Entz has another job on his hands to find the next receivers coach. I think it's the same thing with David Braun, honestly. You have plenty of time to fill it. Could it be filled internally where you shuffle some people around? Yes, but I think if you move anybody into the receivers coaching spot, that just opens up another vacancy. You're going to bring somebody in anyway, so this is going to be a out-of-house hire more than likely. There's probably some other GAs and stuff that will get a chance to look with Matt Entz and have an interview or go through that process a little bit, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is someone outside the program hire back into the program. If you got maybe some former Bison that are out there that were receivers or on the offensive side of the ball that are out there that you'd want to bring in, the only person I can really think of is Sam O'Jury's out there with Illinois State. Obviously, he's more of a running backs coach, was a running back, but if you got any other former Bison out there, I'm sure there will be some conversations had there. But I wouldn't be surprised if this is a non-former Bison outside of the office or the confines of the Fargo Dome type of hire.
A first time hire. Maybe Zach Mathis is player and coach.
There you go.
He's the most seniored player in the group.
Let's call him up.
Player and coach.
Player coach. The player coach combo. I like that. I don't mind it one bit. So maybe call him up, see what happens. But Matt Entz has got plenty of time. That's the thing here. It's not like when AJ Blazek left before that spring season where you had not even a month to kind of figure this thing out and get somebody up here and get them up to speed. You have time to figure it out. First time Matt had to hire people, two of the people he hired were David Braun and Noah Pauley. When you had time to do it, you had time to do it. You hired the right people. Those guys were so good that now I got Big 10 and Big 12 jobs. So with some time here to figure this thing out, I have the confidence in the world that Matt Entz, Matt Larson, everybody else that needs to be involved in that process will knock it out of the park and get some great coaches back in here. But sad to see him go, but happy for him and his family and for that opportunity. So made sure we had to mention that here at the top of the show.
Yeah, we'll miss him. Like I said earlier, just excited for him, his family, looking forward to seeing where he goes. And, you know, who's going to be that next guy. We'll see who Coach Entz picks. And I'm not worried one bit, Bison Nation, because we know the history and the legacy of this program, always finding guys. Could it be someone internal? Who knows?
Yeah, and the thing about the position is it's going to be a position that coaches want to be at because you get to go to NDSU and you get to go to a program that's been dominant for a long, long time. So have its share of very good candidates, I would believe. Even though, again, I think the stereotype out there is going to be, well, I don't know if I want to be the wide receivers coach at NDSU because they don't really throw the ball, but there's a lot more that goes into the wide receiver position than just throwing the ball. And you want to be somewhere where football is important. And obviously at NDSU, football is not just important, it's hugely important, massively important, whatever adjective you want to put in front of it, that's kind of what it is. It's a very, very big deal, a huge standard, and also, like we said before, they do a good job of investing in football, paying the assistants well. It's a good gig, it's a good spot to be, and they'll get their fair share of very, very good candidates, I would have to think, for that position to work with a group that, again, you're coming in, and the group's, it's young, maybe it's unproven in some areas. I think it's pretty good. And I think Eli Green's going to be a name to watch in spring ball. That's some guy I'm going to have my eye on because he kind of popped at the end of the season. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I think for the Bison's offense to take that next step, and that's what a lot of people are wanting to see happen. How can the offense be even better? You have to have that deep threat that takes the top off the defense and forces them to not bring the safeties down because if they do, they know you're going to hit them over the top. And that guy, I think, is Eli Green. So I'll be watching him very closely in spring ball and talking to people and trying to see if that's an area that NDSU can use to continue to take that next step, I think, in the offense. But you have him, you have a Zach Mathis, you have a Braylon Henderson, a Raja Nelson, who have a lot of experience. You got some really, really good young players. I know everyone's waiting to see when's Bryce Lance getting on the field. You know, it was a huge name when he signed on as Trey's brother and everything, but he's kind of writing his own legacy here at NDSU and had some great recruits last year with Carson Hagerly from right in the backyard in West Fargo High and Makai Collins from the Mankato area, too. Like, they got some really, really good recruits, some of the highest-ranked recruits in NDSU history at that wide receiver position. So it's, I think, a group that whoever the coach is that comes in is going to have his share of talent to work with.
Pipeline is full, and the name that you keep bringing up is Braylon Henderson, and he is that guy that I really want to see have a breakout season. He's definitely got the potential to do it. A lot of those end-around sweeps that he had this year, just big plays, able to carry this team and find some momentum. And so, yeah, that pipeline is full. That's what I love about this team. The pipeline is always full of guys.
Yep, sure is. So best of luck there to Noah Paul. We'll reach out, and I think we'll have Noah on. Like same thing we do with David Braun. Should I have him on for one last ride and get his thoughts on everything going on here and, again, kind of thank him for his time spent here in Fargo and at NDSU. I know the place has probably left an impression on him. He's definitely left an impression on all of us. Our show today and every day brought to you by the great folks at Proceed, home of the Right Choice and Right Stuff programs, online at proceed.net. If you need seed, that season's coming up here, farmers. It's getting closer and closer. When you get towards the end of January, you're like, okay, February's tough. March is kind of iffy, but then we're getting close to that season when you can start breaking ground a little bit. So if you need seed, think Proceed. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Summit League Shootaround. Talk with Brian Sean, NDSU UND Hate Week for you. I got that coming up when we come back on The Insiders.
Your home for the Thundering Herd.
Hey, you got any left-handed football?
Bison 1660.
I think what makes Proceed win is we're different than the other companies in many ways with our programming, our simplicity, our non-corporate attitudes, and our personal relationship building.
What Proceed is, we bring back the old-fashioned seed buying experience. We're true seedsmen. We care about everything from the sale to the planting to following up afterwards. That's what we're all about, is just trying to bring that experience back to a personal level.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
On Giving Hearts Day, show your appreciation to our war veterans. Give to the Veterans Honor Flight of North Dakota and Minnesota. Find us under Veteran Support on the Giving Hearts Day website. Veterans Honor Flight of North Dakota and Minnesota. Thank you, veterans.
Did you know hyperbaric oxygen can decrease inflammation and speed up your healing process dramatically? I'm Menley with Fargo's first hyperbaric oxygen center, Healing with Hyperbarics, conveniently located off 45th Street. We are celebrating 4 years in Fargo, and as the experts in treating concussions, brain injuries, sports injuries, and post-COVID symptoms, we welcome you to find out how we can help you heal. We have an FDA-approved device to diagnose concussions and can treat the same day to get you back to feeling better faster. Find out how we can help you at healingwithhyperbarics.com.
The new year brings new goals. This is Scott Zlonick with Cornerstone Bank. This is a great time to review your ag operation financing for the year. Cornerstone Bank offers an experienced team that you can turn to as you navigate through 2023. We're a locally owned and managed community bank. We've been specializing in ag banking for generations. We find the best financial options for business, ag operations, and your personal needs. Come see us at Cornerstone Bank and go Bison.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
NDSC Safety and Health Conference features 3 top-notch keynotes, almost 100 sessions, 140-plus exhibitors, 58 speakers, and 19 live-stream sessions. Attend in person or live-stream from your work or home, February 21st through the 24th. Register now at ndsc.org.
When it's time to find a realtor, word of mouth is important, and Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty is a name Bison Nation says often. Todd has helped everyone from coaches and administrators to broadcasters and former players and their families buy homes in the FM area. So many in Bison Nation trust Todd to buy and sell their homes, and you can too. Call Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty today or visit him at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Todd is a proud partner and the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty, moving the herd one home at a time.
Toss out the medicine bottle. Can't remember if I took my meds today or not. Get rid of the pill dispenser. Another chore I have to do every week. Take advantage of strip packaging. MD Pharmacy in Fargo. A totally customized, sealed daily pack of your medicine in the doses just for you. Take the guesswork and time out of getting your prescriptions. Since it's local, you don't have to wait for days for your medication to arrive. Let MD Pharmacy inside the 13th Avenue Hornbachers help with your prescriptions.
MD Pharmacy, 701-364-5690.
From the court to the field and everywhere in between. Your home for NDSU athletics. Bison 1660.
Rejoin to the show starts playing, and Mikey goes, "Hey, last spot." Like, I think the last spot actually just happened. I think we're okay. Coming back.
I'm on a 10-second delay like the board.
Yeah, that's okay. In studio, in break conversations are always the best anyways. We extend those for a few seconds.
Sometimes good those don't go out over the air either. You know, that's why there's that delay, Micah.
There's gonna be one time when Micah leaves the mics on accidentally, and it is going over the air, and we're just
and it will truly be it'll truly be Mike Hot.
Mike Hot, Micah Hot. There you go, Micah check. Our show brought to you inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Theraldson Ethanol produces 175 million gallons of ethanol per year in a great facility located just west of Castleton. Also roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year. And you can learn more and fuel your future by joining their growing team if you go online to theraldsonethanol.com. You can watch us inside the Theraldson Ethanol Broadcasting Studio. You can watch us and see what it looks like inside here if you're watching on our Facebook page, Bison 1660 on Facebook. We do live streams of the shows, including our coaches' shows as well on Monday nights right here inside the studio on our Facebook page, Bison 1660 via the Horsch Cam, Horsch Farming with Passion online at horsch.com, HORSCH.com. And if you're watching right now, you're going to hear the intro to the Summit League Shootaround.
The Summit League Shootaround.
Every Tuesday, we talk a little Summit League basketball with a few people from around the league. And this week, the Bison face the team just up the road in Grand Forks. It's NDSU versus UND week, and that means we get to have our good buddy Brian Sean, B-Sean, with us on the hotline. B-Sean, always great to have you on, sir. How are you and the family doing?
We're doing good. Yeah, we're doing good. It's been... we're kind of hitting. I guess we're almost exactly at the midway point of the conference basketball season. So, Sioux Falls isn't that far away, and it's been a good run here.
Yeah, it's the first time for all these teams now making the second trip through the conference slate, right? We are facing a team for the second time in a season. So, how does it change in your mind with teams now making that second trip through and adjustments and everything like that?
Well, I think the biggest challenge you see is what teams can find a way to scratch out road wins. Because we've seen now, the exception of North Dakota State last weekend, we've seen how difficult it is to win on the road, both the men's and women's side. I mean, you really got to be good. Oral Roberts' experience, I think you've seen that pay off when they've been able to win road games and find ways, even when they're not playing their best. But that's always going to be everybody's challenge, is how you can find a way to stay consistent and win enough road games to try to solidify your spot at the top of the standings. And I think the other part of that is rotation starts to shrink. I think every team you're seeing rosters and players, there's only 6 or 7 guys right now. There's only a couple of guys off the bench, and everybody else is riding their horses, 32 to 35 minutes a game. And typically how it goes when you get to this point. You kind of recognize who your go-to guys are and who you trust the most, and they can make the right plays in crunch time, and that's the other part I think you're starting to see. I mean, Oral Roberts, North Dakota, when we watched last Saturday, I mean, 7 Oral Roberts players played, 7 North Dakota players played, and that's just kind of the way you have to go with it sometimes, because those are the guys that you put the ball in their hands and you trust them the most.
What has made things so tough? And Bichon Rob here, good to hear from you as always. Sorry I didn't get a chance to come up and shake your hand there at Grand Forks, but going back and looking through those records, you talked about those road games this year, and of course Oral Roberts is undefeated. They're 4-0, but only 2 other teams at 500 or above, as South Dakota State's 2-2 and then North Dakota State 3-2. What's made it so tough on the road, maybe this season, that stands out compared to seasons in the past?
I think the biggest thing is experience. I just don't think the league has as much experience, especially in the top half, as what they've had in the past. I mean, South Dakota State had the Shiremans and the Wilsons in addition to the Arians and all those guys that have played a ton of basketball, and they find ways to win games on the road. They just know how to get it done. Oral Roberts has that. They got a bunch of 4th and 5th year guys that are playing, and that makes a big difference when you're going on the road. I mean, North Dakota State's going through that. I mean, look at all the experience that they've lost, and for these guys, a lot of guys on this roster, it's the first time going through this on the road, and it's a challenge, and you have to kind of go through that and learn what it takes to win on the road and minimize your mistakes. Stay out of foul trouble, keep the home team off the free throw line, and those are the challenges. And I think that's the biggest difference to me, is the league just doesn't have quite the depth of experience on the rosters as it's had in the past, and I think that's why you're finding road wins so hard to come by.
And Brian Sean here with us talking Summit League Shootaround. I want to stay with the men first. We'll go both through the men and the women's games coming up. Men play Friday night here in Fargo at 7 p.m. inside the Shack. Women at 1 o'clock up in Grand Forks on Saturday. Make sure you go to both of those ones. Bison Nation, make them fun, packed environments. It was the first time around. On the men's side, obviously UND's men kind of struggling this year. You can say, obviously, for the season at 7-15, got that one win in conference with a win against Kansas City this last week. So clearly starting to play a little bit better. But it's been a struggle for him this year, and it's been that way for a couple of seasons. And I like Paul Sather a lot. I think he's a really good coach and a really good guy when we've gotten a chance to talk with him. He's been open with us and given us plenty of time. What do you think he's learned about himself, and how do you think he goes about trying to turn this program around down the back half of this season's schedule?
Well, he's been bitten by the transfer portal, quite frankly. I mean, you lose the last 2 Summit League freshmen of the year in the league, and they both move on right away. It's hard to keep replacing, sophomores with more freshmen, and that's where I think, it's been the challenge for North Dakota, is trying to find a balance of experience and youth and trying to build a program from the ground up, which is how he did it at Northern State and how he did it at Black Hills before that. And I think that's where, this has been a couple of challenging years, is they just have not been able to keep a ton of experience in the program. Now, that being said, this year, they brought in some freshmen that have been impact guys. Trace and Eaglestaff out of Bismarck and B.J. Omot out of Minnesota at Mankato have both come in and been, really adjusted their games well to the college game, and they've been relied on a lot. And that's tough when those 2 guys have to be relied on a lot to play such key roles as 18-year-olds. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge right now for North Dakota, is taking your lumps while trying to build and grow your program, while trying to balance out the classes a little bit. And, yeah, there's been some tough lessons. I think there's been an improvement, certainly from where they were at the beginning of the conference season to where they are now. But the challenges are still there to avoid those 5 to 7 minute stretches where, things just kind of go awry. I mean, they were really competitive. It was a 2-point game with Oral Roberts with 5 minutes to go. They made the plays against Kansas City, hit some big shots, hit 18 threes. So they've showed ability, I think, to play with teams. And even Western Illinois having a 5-point lead before Trenton Mazur just went ballistic in the second half and scored 46 points. So, they've at least been competitive. I mean, they lose in the final seconds to South Dakota State by 1. They lose in the final seconds to South Dakota by 2. So, I mean, they've been right there in a lot of games. The biggest thing now is how do you more consistently put 40 minutes together to get through that. And I think that's been the challenge with Coach Sather. That being said, the program, I think, is in better shape than what it was a year ago. I think the talent level is better. But again, there's a lot of youth and a lot of guys going through it for the first time, and that's really been the biggest challenge. And I should say, guys, kudos to everybody involved in making sure that the men's and women's games are on different days.
Agreed,
playing on
100%.
Friday and Saturday. And so, I mean, that's the only, South Dakota State aren't doing that. They're playing them at 1 and 6 or whatever. That is the smartest move ever, thanks to the schools, the league for making that happen so that fans can go to both games. That, to me, has been a real issue is the mirror scheduling is playing those games on the same day at the same time. So
100%
I'm glad that's
agree
not
with you.
happening.
Yeah, men Friday night, women. It was the same thing the first time around. They played on opposite days. Fans can get to both of them. That's the way it used to be. That's the way it should be going forward. And very happy this school has made that happen so you can get to both, especially when they're this close, right? When some travel partners are 4 or 5 hours apart. When you're an hour and 10 minutes or whatever apart, I love that the way that they're doing them.
Yeah, it's a good change there, and it's the way when I was in East Texas, that's the way we did things, in the conference we came out of the South. And I've got one more question related to men's basketball, Brian, and you talked about young guys earlier. What impact is just B.J. Omont making now? The freshman coming in for the first time, about 11 points a game or so. He's the only player there that's averaging double digits. Just talk about his impact and how he's doing this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's a guy they got pretty late in the process, and he had some big-time offers. I think he had Providence and a couple other big ones early. And I think ultimately North Dakota stayed on him, stayed with him, and he recognized he had a chance to get on the floor early at North Dakota, which has been the case. He started every game. I think he's one of 2 players that have started every game for UND, and they've had 8 different starting lineups, but he stayed pretty constant. And he's just a different kind of athlete. He's long, he can shoot it. He's much better defensively than I thought he'd be as a freshman. And he's got a pretty good head and shoulders. He doesn't get up too high or too low. And I think he's just been able to kind of stick with it a little bit. Against Kansas City, he was unbelievable. I mean, he had 16 in the first half. Did not miss a shot. So he's got a lot of skill, a lot of upside. And I think after another off season, I think you could see him take another jump. But he's just a unique athlete, not like anybody that they've had there, at least the last couple of years that I've been watching him. So he's been a nice addition. I think the length of Eagle staff has been a nice addition. Elijah Brooks has shown the ability to do some things on both ends of the floor, too. It's just a matter of consistently, being there consistently. And last night he didn't have a great offensive night, but you're going to have some of that with freshmen where they're going to be up one night and down the next. And you kind of just have to ride that wave sometime and get them that experience, to get them the minutes and really try to force feed them that to develop them, get them ready to go.
Let's switch over to the women's side here for a few minutes as well. Again, talking with Brian Sean, Midcoast Sports on the Summit League Shootaround. Women's side, it's kind of what we talked about with the men. In terms of the Summit League, great at home. And there's been a very difficult home venues on the women's side. The Bison haven't lost at home. UND's 9-0 at home this season. South Dakota State's undefeated at home in conference play. Oral Roberts is a very tough place to play. And Omaha's only lost, I think, twice at home all season long as well. So a lot of tough home venues, including UND, where they are 9-0 at home. 1-8, though, on the road. No wins on the road in conference play. It's been a little up and down, but very up at home, and they have their next 3 at home. Yeah, I mean that's kind of been the deal, right? And it's one of those things for North Dakota. They've had chances on the road. They were down 20 points to Oral Roberts and scored 37 in the fourth quarter, and actually had it within a 1-possession game in the final minute. So, it's just the inconsistencies in the droughts, and the offense being rushed, some of the defensive principles for them kind of come and go on the road sometimes. There just hasn't been a lot of consistency from quarter to quarter by UND on the road. You have to have that. And some of their freshmen that they're playing to are going through their ups and downs. Casey Baravich has had some really big games, and then she's had some games where, the ball just hasn't dropped. And, that's what you need. You need kids that can dig in and get defensive stops. I think South Dakota was able to do that on the road at Denver. They were able to do that at Omaha. That's how they've been able to win a couple of road games. North Dakota State has been able to do that. Winning at South Dakota, finding a way at Kansas City when things weren't necessarily going their way. But you got to realize you're probably not going to get as many whistles on the road as you do at home. That's just the nature of it, man. I'm not saying the officiating has been poor. I'm just saying when you watch a home game and you watch a road game and you watch the team that's home, you got to be better. You got to be 10 points better more often than not on the road than you are at home, because it's just really, really tough, to find ways to claw and scratch
and win games. But the best chance you have, I think, is to lock teams up and try to keep them in the 50s and 60s and give yourself a chance to win. And that's what some teams have been able to do. North Dakota State's been able to do that. South Dakota State's been able to do that. And now it's going to matter of the rest of the week who can find a way in this second half to do that. And that's going to be the challenge, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, obviously Casey Borovich is phenomenal. She's a first-team All-Summit League type of player. I think she was held to 28 points on like 27 shots the first time, and held to 28 points. I mean, she gets a ton of points, but at least the Bison made her earn it, right, the first time around. But I look at the two freshmen in this game, and I was really impressed with Nakia Hurst, the freshman forward for UND, 5'11", out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and then the true freshman Elle Evans for NDSU as well. Those are two freshmen in this league that I think are going to be up there for Freshman of the Year, and I've liked what Hurst has done. What have you seen in her play? What has Coach Mallory Bernhardt said about Nakia Hurst, and what have you seen from afar about Elle Evans, and what's impressed you there?
Well, I would be hard-pressed to believe anybody's going to top Elle Evans for Freshman of the Year. She's been really, really good. I mean, haven't watched NDSU a ton, but I've watched them enough to know how she's able to play and how she's able to do things. She's long, super skilled, can shoot it. She's a really good player. I mean, she's going to be a good player in the Summit League. She just is. She has that ability and skill to do that, and can score all the different levels, and just looks really comfortable and confident out there. And I think as she continues to grow, she's going to get more aggressive and be more dangerous than she is right now. So I really like her. I think very, very much of her, and you can see why she was recruited by a bunch of different schools. And I think Jory's got to be pretty happy he has her on the roster. Nakia, another kid that was a heavily recruited 4-star kid out of Milwaukee. You see the skill of her. She can do some things that I don't know I've ever seen another athlete in the Summit League do in terms of her ability and skill to get to the rim and shoot it. But again, she's going through her ups and downs as a freshman. She's still learning a lot of different things of what you can get away with in high school that you can't in college. A lot of those lessons are coming on the defensive end. I think she had 4 fouls in about 8 minutes of play at Oral Roberts. So you got to be able to get it done on both ends and understand defensive principles and put the effort in at both ends. And that's something that young players have a tough time learning, and you kind of have to go through that and understand it. And so there's no question on the offensive end, she's got a ton of talent. It's just a matter of shot selection, being consistent, especially on the defensive end. But when she can get going, man, she's dangerous off the bench. But she's having a lot of learning moments out there as she's going through this.
Speaking of learning moments, the 3 next games coming up, they're hosting at home, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and then South Dakota, your top 3 teams in the Summit. Just how critical is it for these women to get at least one win just to kind of set that tone as we're now through that halfway point in the Summit League?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Rob. I mean, you're getting now where you got the 3 big guns, the 3 teams that are directly ahead of you coming to your house, and how are you going to handle that? And how are you going to play? And can you shake off what happened last weekend? And can you get everybody back on the same page and start fast? And it starts against NDSU, and it's been a while since UND has beaten NDSU on the women's side. I don't know, 8 straight, I think, something like that.
Correct. Yep.
So, some of that stuff does creep in a little bit, too, especially with the players. A lot of these players haven't beaten NDSU yet. So, the pressure of all that, who plays a little freer, which team is locked in the best on both ends, who can limit turnovers, all those little things. And then I think North Dakota State, the one thing they did in the first meeting that I thought was really a difference maker was their ability on the glass. I really thought Emily Benke was a force in the paint, and North Dakota is not very tall, so I think that's going to be a challenge, for UND, no matter who they play. They just don't have the size that a lot of other teams have in the Summit League. And then no matter what happens, you have to get ready for South Dakota and South Dakota State. And again, 2 teams that they have not beaten in a long time. And so, it's a critical stretch. And certainly if you're North Dakota, you got to feel like we got to get at least one of these, if not a couple of these, to solidify our spot in the top 6. Because as you guys know, avoiding 7, 8, 9, 10 this year is critical, and not having to play Friday in that play-in round in Sioux Falls. So I know coaches aren't talking about that, but as the schedule starts to dwindle down here with 8, 9 games left, you got to start paying attention to that. And we got to find a way to stay out of that play-in round, because if we can do that, we feel pretty good about our chances of at least competing against whoever is the 4 or 5 or 3 or who everybody else is in that opening round of the tournament. So a lot to be decided, but, every game really important here. It's coming up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's going to be an interesting kind of last month plus here as everyone goes through a second time and seeing the adjustments on both the men's and the women's side, seeing if ORU can go undefeated, SDSU's women may be going undefeated. Those are some of the storylines, and teams going to be trying to knock them off. I know the Bison host SDSU on this back half, and that's going to be a fun game too, but looking forward to the matchup on Saturday for both, really Friday night for the men and Saturday for the women, and we love that they're on separate days, which is phenomenal, and we love that we have Brian Sean on to talk about it. Sean, always great to have you on, sir. Appreciate the time. We'll talk to you again as this season continues.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Andy. Appreciate it, Rob. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you all this weekend.
There you go, Brian Sean, nice enough to stop by. Our Summit League Shootaround, as always, brought to you by the great folks at Beyond Realty, which would be Todd Cattermas, the preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. And Beyond Realty did a great job. If you're looking for home or if you're looking for anything, trying to buy or sell a home, I encourage you to go with Todd Cattermas, preferred realtor of NDSU Athletics. You can find Todd at 4832 Amber Valley Parkway in Fargo. Moving the herd, one home at a time. We'll take a break. We'll come back, and actually, you know what? Let's just keep it here for a little bit. We'll end things on the first hour here, so we're on time for Josh Sash. Make sure we get the coach in at noon, but appreciate Sean coming on. How important is this game, you think, on the NDSU side for the men to be able to get this victory? I know it's a 2-game losing streak a little bit. Not much of a losing streak, really, it was just 2 games anyways. But to get a win at home, that confidence, especially going on this back half of the schedule now to position themselves in a good spot.
Yeah, I think you answered exactly what I was going to say. It's a confidence builder. You need that because at home you haven't played very well this season if you're in the Bison men's basketball program. So it's huge for them to come out, get off to a quick start, and just continue that domination they had back in Grand Forks. Talked about earlier, holding them to 49 points. I believe the lowest point total that the Bison have held a team this season. So if they can continue that, get off to a fast start, just play complete basketball and have confidence, because that's the area that this team, especially at home, seems that they've struggled is just, as we've mentioned so many times before, that one person kind of seems like they have to carry the load when things aren't happening. Don't get into foul trouble early. Getting Damari Wheeler-Thomas, whenever he got into foul trouble and he had to go out early the other night, that was a huge momentum shift. Losing a guy like Andrew Morgan a couple of games ago early because of foul trouble. So play aggressive, but don't create fouls and get that win. Any win is huge, of course, but I think at this point for this men's basketball program, they need this win just to really solidify some confidence and get that ball rolling again. It's where they need to be.
Give me an X factor.
An X factor in this
ball
game?
Not a Grant Nelson, not Andrew Morgan who's playing really well, but someone you think has been playing well lately could play a big role.
I think that who needs to kind of have a big role again is Jakari White. He's been a guy that has been so dominant on the defensive end. I know he had his struggles there versus Kansas City, so I'd like to see him turn around and just get back to playing that aggressive defense, that Jakari White brand of basketball that we've seen, especially over that 5-game win streak.
For me, for the women X factor, I'm going with Abby Draper because Taylor Brown rolled her ankle in their last game against Kansas City, sprained it. I think it's questionable if she's going to be able to play this weekend or not. It's probably a little bit up in the air on that one. And if she can't go, and I think she might be on track to be able to maybe give it a go, but if she can't, then Abby Draper is going to have to play more minutes off of the bench as an extra big defensively. Christina Ikofu-Yomain is probably going to get in that starting lineup and have to play a big role too, but Draper is someone that can stretch the floor a little bit, knock down some threes. Offensively going to be good, but has to provide you good, solid minutes defensively and rebounding. That's a big edge for NDSU in that first game against the Hawks. Got to make sure you pound that in again and continue to pound the glass. I think Abby Draper could play a big role off of the bench, and maybe even Katie Hildebrandt, who played a big role off the bench when Taylor went down in the first half against Kansas City with that ankle injury. Katie came in second half. I believe she scored 6 or all 8 of her points maybe in the second half, knocked down a 3, played really good defense, gave them extra minutes when they're losing one of their better bigs that you have to have somebody step up. So a couple of key players there for me in that matchup as NDSU, the women, face UND there on Saturday at 1 o'clock up in Grand Forks. Again, our Summit League Shootaround brought to you by Todd Cattermas with Beyond Realty. Call them today at 701-371-4234. Moving the herd, one home at a time. Thanks to Brian Sean. Appreciate him stopping by. Hour number 2, we get talking more basketball. How about assistant coach Josh Sash coming on with us?
No more wrestling. So if you didn't like that first hour, Micah, I saw the joy in his face when we went on, but no more wrestling. That's over with, and we'll probably bring it up again in maybe 6 months.
We'll talk NDSU wrestling.
You'll do that.
No more what? Professional stunt?
Quote, unquote.
What do we
stunt
call it?
wrestling. Stunt.
WWE stunt?
Live
stunt
stunts.
whatevers?
No more WWE superstar talk?
Yeah, that one. That one. Oh, do we have a poll question? Am I supposed to?
Oh, I haven't put that up yet.
Okay.
I was waiting for the okay from the program director.
Well,
From the head
I think
honcho.
we mentioned it during the first segment. That was kind of the okay for you. But I think we might have a couple of texts or emails. If I should, again, am I missing out on not watching Royal Rumble? Let us know. Text in, call, email, something like that. 701-476-1660. That does it for hour number 1. Back with hour number 2. Josh Sash, assistant coach, NDSU men's basketball, coming up next.
Why the sad face? My hip has been hurting so much. I even had to miss dance. Did you know that you can make an appointment with Anna at Apex Physical Therapy? She helped me when I got injured, and she'll get you back on the stage in no time.
Anna is Fargo Moorhead's expert in treating dancers and musicians. Call 701-364-2739 to set up an appointment. Check out all that Apex Physical Therapy and Wellness has to offer at apexptwellness.com.
Don't let your profits get stuck in your truck this spring. Dirt, rock, let it slide with Super Slide. Super Slide is a plastic, non-stick, self-lubricating, and seamless liner that eliminates haulback in your dump box or dump trailer. Super Slide is available in various grades, widths, and thicknesses, and Horn Plastics can have you in and out in no time. Get your new liner now to ensure you maximize productivity and profitability in 2023. Super Slide from Horn Plastics, created and preferred for every job. Visit hornplastics.com to schedule your installation.
Are you an electrician? Are you looking for a change? JDP Electric is looking for commercial, industrial, and service electricians. JDP is looking for both journeyman and apprentice electricians. You could start your career today with a family-owned and operated business who's been serving our community for over 20 years. Full-time positions available with great pay and benefits. Call 701-232-1991 or email info@jdpelectric.net. Start your new tomorrow today. Come, be a part of the JDP difference.
In 1953, Bill Samuels created a simple bourbon, while Margie Samuels worked on her creative vision. A bottle hand-dipped in red wax, wrapped in a hand-cut label, filled with handcrafted bourbon that elevated flavor and remains unchanged as of today. Aromas of woody oak, caramel, and vanilla, with a taste that is sweet and balanced with caramel, vanilla, and fruity essences. Every barrel of Maker's Mark is aged to taste, not time. Maker's Mark, the star of your home bar. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, Chad here from Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, located in the heart of Lakes Country. We're the land of over 10,000 sleeps. We have helped our customers and their families rest easy for over 40 years, which is why year after year we've been voted the Lakes Country's best place to buy a mattress. At Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, you get the best value on name brand mattresses and the best service. We have a large assortment of mattresses including memory foam and hybrids. It's worth the drive to Minnesota Warehouse Furniture and Mattress, located in Earhart, Minnesota. No frills, just big savings so you can rest easy.
About a month ago, we had some unexpected plumbing issues. We called Valley Service Mechanical in a panic and were pleasantly surprised with the professional that came to our rescue. He took the time to explain the issues to us, and you could really tell he enjoyed what he was doing and the pride he had representing Valley Service Mechanical.
When your heating and cooling needs help and your plumbing is on the fritz, call Valley Service Mechanical, 701-293-5701. Online at valleyservice.net.
And it's booked. Wait, what if my flight gets canceled or the room is terrible? Ugh, what am I doing? Travel always has specials on dream trips. They do corporate travel, honeymoons, everything. I'm booking with Travel just to be safe. This week's Travel hot deal of the week is Cancun, Mexico. Fly from Minneapolis to Cancun and stay 7 nights all-inclusive at the Sunscape Akumal Beach Resort and Spa, March 16th through the 23rd for $14.99 per person. Call Travel at 492-5000 or online at travelgroup.com.
Hey everyone. My name is Justin, and I'm the general manager at Corwin Honda. I wanted to let you know that the wait is finally over, and I have over 50 new 2022 pilots ready to sell, and I don't want these sitting on my lot. So right now, I'll take up to $2,000 off all 2022 pilots, and you can get financing as low as 1.9%. That's right, up to $2,000 off, and financing as low as 1.9%. So come visit us over at Corwin Honda or shop online today at corwinauto.com.
KQWB West Fargo, KPFX HD3 Kindred, and K224FD Fargo. Bison 1660, powered by Gateway Chevrolet, Cadillac, Nissan, and Hyundai in Fargo.
We are Fox Sports! And here
Here's what you need to know.
According to NBC Sports, Jets owner Woody Johnson would happily acquire quarterback Aaron Rodgers in a trade. The Dallas Morning News reports that running back Ezekiel Elliott would like to stay with the Dallas Cowboys and would be willing to take a pay cut in 2023. The Texans will be interviewing Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka and Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero a second time for their head coaching vacancy, while the Panthers are interviewing Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore for their team's head coaching vacancy. According to ESPN, Alabama's offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Bill O'Brien will return to New England. He is being named the Patriots offensive coordinator. Jamaica's government has turned to the FBI for help as it investigates a massive fraud case involving a private investment firm where $12.7 million belonging to renowned sprinter Usain Bolt has gone missing. I'm Monty Bolaños.
You've got the insiders.
How you play today, from this moment on, is how you will be remembered.
That's what living is. That's right. The 6 inches in front of your face.
Bringing you what you need to know and a whole lot more. Topics you care about, guests you know, and the conversations you came to hear. The Insiders are presented by Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed.
This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
Now, here are the Insiders.
The Insiders. The Insiders.
The Insiders.
Insiders.
Rob Hipp and Andy Rickoff.
Hey, last in commercial break, which is faker, North Dakota Nice or Southern Hospitality? That's the last debate we had.
But it's Southern
Commercial
Hospitality. Look, here's the thing. Welcome back into the Insiders, everybody.
Welcome back, hour number 2.
Welcome back, hour 2. Here's the thing, real quick, because I know Sash is on the line. Southern Hospitality is great in small towns, but every large town is just it gets a little bit different.
I think it's small towns across the country. Maybe it's not North Dakota Nice or Minnesota Nice or Southern Hospitality. Maybe it's just small town hospitality.
North Dakota
People
Nice
in
is a
small
thing.
towns tend to be like relaxed, chill, and just nice people.
Yeah, and Fargo is that it's a great area because you're not like super big, but you're not super small. So
Yeah.
North Dakota Nice is good in Fargo.
Yeah, it's got like everything you need, but it's not overly crowded and crazy like some of the major cities. I would agree
That's right.
with you. That's why Fargo's perfect. That's why we love it up here. Other than maybe the wind. The wind's kind of brutal sometimes.
You betcha.
Yeah, you betcha. Darn right it is. One thing we love about North Dakota is North Dakota State men's basketball, and they've got a big game on Friday night, 7 p.m. Get there, pack the Shack, make it a raucous and rambunctious atmosphere inside the Shack. Friday night, 7 p.m., the tip-off between NDSU and UND. And we've got the assistant coach on the line with us, Josh Sash. Nice enough to stop by and preview this matchup for us for a little bit. Coach, I always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on with us. It's a big one this weekend, huh?
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you stopping by. You've spent some time around, obviously, the upper Midwest, and I think a little bit of time around Texas. What's realer, upper Midwest, North Dakota Nice or Southern Hospitality?
Oh man, I'm from Iowa, so small town Iowa. Shout out Oskaloosa, small town Iowa. But I think Iowa's got a lot of nice people there too. So I probably lean toward North Dakota though.
Okay.
Texas, they got a mentality that their state is kind of a country of its own, and if you're not from there, sometimes you maybe feel like a foreigner.
Okay, there we go. Josh, it's his opinion.
Man, did you feel that way at Temple JC when you were there, Coach? Come on, Temple's good people, man.
A little bit.
I love
Just a
small
little
town
bit.
Iowa. I got a lot
There's
of
good people there, though.
My entire dad's side of the family is from Iowa, small town. There's a bunch of places around there, and we get spend some summers on a farm with my aunt. It was great. So I love small town Iowa too. Absolutely. Nice to have you on, though. I appreciate you stopping by. And this is a big one, NDSU UND. Clearly, you guys got the win last time out against them, held them to 49 points. Going to be on their mind, I got to think a little bit. But they've had some success against the in-state rival the last couple of years. So I think you're the good luck charm. I think that's really what happened. You came here, and I don't know if we've lost to UND since.
Yeah, they got us once since I've been here. That back in the COVID where we played the back-to-back.
Oh, that doesn't count. Anything COVID doesn't matter.
I think they got us.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's going to be a great matchup. Shout out to our fans this last weekend for two really nice turnouts Thursday and Saturday. Unfortunately, we didn't uphold our end of the bargain, but hopefully this Friday we can play a little better.
Well, Coach, I've really enjoyed getting to know you this season, just traveling with you guys, and then I appreciate all that you do, especially during halftime, kind of chiming in with your thoughts, and it means a lot to this program and to the fan base as well, just having that extra voice on there. You know, we're already halfway through the Summit League series. I mean, it's amazing how fast that this conference action goes. What are your kind of positive takeaways? You know me, I always try to find that silver lining. What are your positive takeaways through the first half of the Summit League so far for NDSU men's basketball?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit as a staff yesterday. I think, after going one time through the league, I think we've seen that there's nobody in the league that we can't beat, but then there's also nobody in the league that we can't lose to, and I think we have to continue to grow and continue to grow here over the next, month of the season and trying to figure out how we can be playing our best when we get to the Summit League tournament in March.
With so many young guys on this team, and I don't want to make it sound like working with the guys are challenging, but do you feel, and I know that you've been here a couple of years now, but do you feel like maybe that this is one of the most challenging teams you've had to work with, just in the sense that it's a lot of young guys coming in and not any senior leadership?
Yeah, it's been a really enjoyable, really fun group to work with. Overall, just the youth, and the excitedness for a lot of these guys to go through and experience this thing for the first time. I think we, in a lot of ways, we do miss some leadership, with the youth that we have. And I think you can kind of see that we got, on a little hot streak and won about 5 games. And I think, maybe we had some slippage this last weekend where I think prior to that, the youth of us, we were pretty consistent at showing up and playing hard here, once we've gotten into conference play. And I think there was, a couple guys that weren't quite as locked in as they had been. And I think that to me is, you look at Oral Roberts, you look at Kansas City, you look at their guard play, a lot of upperclassmen in those roles for them, and I think that's probably where our youth showed, and we have to learn lessons through that.
And one guy I've been impressed with during that 5-game winning streak, and even in those last 2 games with losses, I think Andrew Morgan's been playing really well for you. And I know freshman year he came in and played a lot of key minutes. He did play a key role early on, which not many true freshmen do in this league. Second year, you're looking for big things from him. He's been up and down at that early in the season, but over the last couple of weeks, he's for the most part been pretty consistent. Obviously had those 29 points against Kansas City. Have you seen anything different in Andrew Morgan's play, both on and what he does off of the court as well over these last month or so?
I think people probably forget with a guy like Rocky Cruiser last year taking up a lot of those minutes. Andrew was able to kind of come in and give us a spark here and there, but then he also had that injury that limited him for probably 12 games, kind of right in the middle of the year last year, and he never really got back to the level of play that maybe he was at before then. So really, this year is kind of almost like a freshman year again for him, and now he's being thrust into a very significant role and asked to shoulder a lot of the load on the offensive end. And I think early on there was some ups and some downs, just with him trying to figure out how do I help this team when I'm starting to see double teams on a consistent, night in, night out basis. And, he and Grant at this point, I think, have been doubled in the post every which way you can double. And whether, double off the pass or double off whoever they think are worst shooting guard, double off, the opposite big. They've seen it all at this point. And I think they're starting to get comfortable and starting to figure out, how do I play out of those double teams? And then you saw on Saturday where Kansas City didn't double in the post. And, Andrew, in a one-on-one matchup, he went to work. So we need Andrew to continue to, maintain that, that consistent upward trajectory for us to be playing our best basketball here at the end of March.
Another guy that's starting to get a little bit more playing time is Lance Waddles. I've liked what I've been seeing from him. He's trying to make the most out of his minutes when he gets on the court. What have you seen from him, and what do you like about him that's starting to emerge?
Yeah, the thing about Lance is, and I think Coach has kind of said it from day one, Lance is very talented offensively. Lance can really shoot the basketball. We do some shooting drills, pretty consistently in practice and keeping track of makes. And, Lance shoots the ball as well, if not better than everybody on our team. the thing for Lance has been he's got to continue to get better on the defensive end. He's got to get more physical, and I think quietly, slowly, he's kind of bought into that, and he started to do that, and then, fortunately that's been able to get him on the floor, and then, this weekend he was able to knock down a few shots for us as well.
Jim Bison assistant coach Josh Sash here with us on the Epic Companies Hotline. NDSU men's basketball faces UND coming up here Friday night, 7 p.m. tip-off inside the Shack, so make sure you get there, pack that place, make it a raucous environment. I loved the attendance numbers I saw, especially for that Oral Roberts game this last week. The bucket hat giveaway was a hoot, and I think that was a fan favorite, which was good. Did you get your hands on a bucket hat, Coach?
No, I didn't. They were pretty stingy about those. I think our guys wanted some of those, and we weren't able to snag any. I think they sold out pretty quick. That was a great idea, with our marketing staff, and they did a heck of a job to promote that. And we had a ton of students in the building, and that was great to see.
Yeah, it sure was. I mean, the boys would have loved that, right? Bring a couple bucket hats home for the kiddos.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I would have absolutely loved those for sure. But on the thing I was kind of leading on there with the game coming up on Friday night for the men, make sure you pack that place and make it a great environment. That first time out, you guys held them to 49 points, and clearly there's going to be some adjustments made by both teams, but this is the first team you're going to see for the second time in league play as that second time through starts here this week for everybody in the conference. What adjustments are typically made? How does the game change when you see a team for the second time in a season?
Yeah, that's a difficult thing. I think, it's been almost a month now ago since we played them. I think you've seen their trajectory. They've started to kind of narrow down, their rotation of guys and started to figure out maybe who to play a little more and who to play a little less and how they want to play. You can see that they've continued to make strides and improvements. I think, in my opinion, they're a better team than maybe their current record shows. And I think the keys for us will be to do a lot of the same things that we did, the first time. We have to win on the glass, and I thought we did a really good job of that. We need our bigs to dominate on the glass. They did that the last time. We need to get out and push the ball, see if we can score early in transition. If not, then we need to pound the ball inside to our two big guys and play through them. And I think defensively we need to continue to improve. That was kind of where I thought there was maybe some lacking this last weekend, where some guys that had, some juice. I'm specifically talking, Jakari, White, Bowden Scumberg, and we talked as a staff and as a team, like those guys are kind of the juice that makes us go on the defensive end, and we got to make sure those guys are locked in and ready to go, and bringing that juice and that energy to our team, and to continue to play well on the defensive end.
I've had you on for about 10 minutes and haven't asked the obligatory must-have mention question about Grant Nelson, so I feel like we've kind of dropped the ball on that. It's my bad on that. I apologize. So Grant Nelson, great player. He's obviously a Summit League Player of the Year type of candidate. He's phenomenal. We've seen him kind of blow up a little bit on social media the last couple of weeks, and I think we've all known about it. We've known the talent he has, but I think other people are figuring that out too. How have you seen Grant take a hold of the leadership role, though? Not the on-court stuff necessarily, but that leadership role of there is no Rocky this year. There is no Sam Griesel, Tyree Edey, and that was a storyline coming into the season. We asked you guys about that, the role Grant was going to have to take on, and others, but Grant in particular. Now that you're well over halfway through the entire season and halfway through the conference season, what have you seen from Grant in that aspect?
Yeah, I think he had a great one to learn from in Rocky Cruiser, and Rocky was a guy that just always used his voice and brought a presence, especially on the defensive end of the floor. I've really noticed Grant more and more as the year's gone on here, on a consistent basis in practice, throughout workouts, helping some of these young guys through mistakes, and knowing Grant and his personality, he's kind of a quiet kid to begin with. So, for him, you can tell that he's really made it, he's really purposed to use his voice more in that leadership role. And I think, as we go forward here, him doing that and, the level of play that he's playing at, if we can keep that consistent, I think he can really help us, down the stretch here to play our best in March.
Coach, always appreciate the time. Thanks for coming on with us. Love these conversations. I'm upset I don't get to do them as often this year as I have before because I'm not doing Bison Shootaround like Micah is, getting to talk with you more. So great to have you on the show, and appreciate you jumping on. Best of luck there on Friday night.
Yeah, for sure. It felt like we used to have a conversation about 2-3 times a week. I haven't talked to you as much.
I know. I haven't got a chance to talk to you about, Iowa Hawkeyes or anything like that either. I felt bad about it, so I want to make sure we get you on the show. Appreciate it. Yeah. How are the boys doing? How's Tandon, Tayson, and True?
Oh, they're doing great. I'm not sure, how my wife is doing right now. We've, I'd say about 2 or 3 nights a week we have either, basketball practice, baseball workouts, Saturdays. This last Saturday we had, Tandon had 3 games, tournament, and True had his first game, and then Tayson had an afternoon game at 3 o'clock, which was right after our game, but it was across town. So, she was carting them all around and doing that whole deal, and she's probably ready to kill me because I'm not much help in those instances at times, but we're doing good. They're doing well.
Well, Anna Lee is an all-star, and you got some guys that got a great shoe game. I've seen the pictures. The shoe game is strong in the Sash household for sure.
Yeah, Anna Lee is an all-star. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, you're right about that, no doubt. And appreciate the time again coming on, and again, best of luck there Friday night, Coach.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Josh Sash, assistant coach, able to pop on with us and go over this big matchup, NDSU and UND. We'll take a break. We'll come back. How about some news and notes, some quotes and notes from the NFL? Championship week is upon us. There's a lot of other things going on in the NFL, though, and we'll touch on some of those things and get some thoughts from myself, Rob, and Micah. Gang's all here with you on the Insiders. Come back with more next.
The most complete Bison coverage in the region. Your Bison Nation station.
You are deep in thought, which is always dangerous.
Bison 1660.
Start building your career at Doosan Bobcat in Gwinner today. Bobcat Gwinner is currently hiring for assemblers and material handlers. Bobcat Gwinner offers competitive pay, great benefits, opportunities for long-term growth, and a $5,000 relocation bonus for qualified candidates. If you're ready to build what's next, apply today. Doosan Bobcat. Even their careers are built better. For more information or to apply, visit bobcat.com/nowhiring. That's bobcat.com/nowhiring.
Hail Comfort King, honorable defender of truth in the land of comfort. I am here to offer my service to you in defense of slumber from the insomnia invader.
Welcome, good night, to our quest for peaceful rest and comfort for all our fellow citizens.
With our soft spot warranty and lifetime comfort guarantee, we shall surely reward their faith in the craftsmanship of Comfort King.
Indeed, good night. Say, what is your name?
Knight.
Well then, night-night.
Comfort King Mattress Factory, for queens and kings.
And peasants too.
Businesses should know that Consolidated Communications has the only data center in the FM area that is SOC 2 certified. That means Consolidated has tested reliable systems in place to protect your valuable data. That's more important than ever with today's security concerns. Many business insurance companies require SOC certification at data storage facilities. You should work with a local data center that is SOC 2 certified. For scalable, cost-effective data center solutions for your changing business needs, go to consolidated.com/data center.
Invest in your community with Epic Companies. Hey, this is Mac. Have you been looking to diversify your portfolio and dive into real estate? We offer multiple types of investing through our mixed-use buildings and entertainment plazas. If you are an accredited investor and interested in hearing more about the investment process and how you can be part of enhancing the quality of life in the area, visit epiccompaniesnd.com to review our investment options. That's epiccompaniesnd.com.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
Hey, business owners, you have your banker, you have your insurance guy, but do you have your door guy? Now you do. DabTech Window Services also specializes in commercial door and window repair and replacement. DabTech is proud to be known for their excellent commercial services as on the NDSU campus. Choose the door and window experts that will deliver top-rated products as well as the experienced technicians that do it right the first time. A decade of service with a century of experience. Online at dabtechwindowservices.com. That's dabtechwindowservices.com.
Hi, I'm Grant Nelson, NDSU Bison basketball player. Whether it's playing basketball or driving in my car, I want to do everything to the best of my ability, on the court and off the court. So when I'm in the car, I up my game with the Drive for Less program from Nodak Insurance. I could save up to 30% on my premium just for driving safely. To me, that's a slam dunk. Download the Nodak Insurance app today.
Stop by Gateway Chevrolet and check out their great selection of in-stock Chevy cars and trucks ready for immediate delivery. Take advantage of invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Equinox and invoice pricing on new 2023 Chevrolet Silverados only at Gateway Chevrolet. Plus, find out about 2.9% financing on select Chevrolet models. That's right, 2.9% on select Chevrolets and invoice pricing on 2023 Equinox and Silverados at Gateway Chevrolet. Find new roads. Details gatewayfargo.com.
You're listening to your home for NDSU athletics.
Lipke to the 10, cuts it back 5, shot in there, baby!
Bison 1660.
12:22. Your time on the program. Andy Rickoff, Micah Bindi, Rob Hipp, voice of the Bison, all here with you. Call or text us up, 701-476-1660. You can send in your thoughts. What's happening with basketball, football? Noah Pauley, we mentioned that. If you didn't hear already, Noah Pauley, Bison wide receivers coach, is leaving to take, I believe it's the same exact position with Iowa State. So he'll be going to the Big 12. Congratulations to him. That's a great opportunity for him, a great spot, a good step up. And you're happy for someone like that. You hate to see him go because you've built those relationships. He's a great coach. You hate to see great talent leaving the building, but you're also you know that Matt Entz is going to bring in somebody pretty good. You know that it's a position when you're talking about a coaching position, any coaching position at NDSU, it's going to get you the top candidates for it. So very much looking forward to seeing who comes in here and takes over that spot. But congratulations and best of luck to Noah Pauley. We'll reach out to him, try to have him on here maybe this week or next week. I know once things like that happen, it moves pretty quickly, and also that means a big move and move. You know what, Rob? Moving. You did it across country, so it's not quite as far for Noah going from North Dakota to Iowa, but, man, those cross-state line moves, nothing fun about it.
Yeah, and I would assume that they're probably going to take really good. Like I got taken care of here. We still had to pack the U-Haul and do everything ourselves. Now, we didn't have the resources to hire like a van line to move, which would have been really nice because that's like 10 or 12 grand. But, yeah, it was – I don't know. You just make it an adventure. You turn it into like a vacation. That's what we did. It was kind of a vacation. It was tough with basically a baby under 1-year-old and 2 dogs, so it made it a challenge. But we got here, and my buddy drove the U-Haul, towed a car behind. It's a long journey.
Yeah, for sure. So you're happy for Noah, looking forward to that, and we'll see if we can get him on here this week or next week. But that was kind of the big news of the morning. I talked a little basketball in that first hour too, and obviously just had Coach Stash on to talk more NDSU basketball. Big games this week. Need some wins. Would be great to get some wins. I think for the men, obviously, just to get a win at home and you kind of get to wash that taste out of your mouth. You hate to turn any loss into 2, but especially when you got 2 losses in a row, you hate to turn that into 3. You got to find a way to get a win there against the team they've had a lot of success against lately. And for the women, it's a chance again. Haven't lost to UND as Jory Collins has been here, and a chance to go back up there, end their unbeaten streak at home of 9 straight this season, and get a chance to get a win over the in-state Rebels. So a couple of very big games here this week for both the men and the women. Because they're such big games, how about we do this and put Micah to work a little bit? We'll do caller number 4 to 701-476-1660. Wins a pair of tickets to NDSU men's basketball versus UND Friday night. We'll pack the shack, put our money where our mouth is a little bit. Caller 4 right now, 701-476-1660. You win a pair of tickets to NDSU UND Friday night inside the shack. And also, if you're listening at the end of the show, we'll give away a pair of tickets to the Boat Show, the 2023 Red River Valley Boat and Marine Product Show, January 27th to the 29th inside the Fargo Dome. A pair of tickets we'll give away for the Boat Show. To register for those, you got to text the keyword, which is BOAT, to 701-476-1660. Text BOAT to 701-476-1660 for a pair of Boat Show tickets. We'll give away that winner at the end of the show today. I did talk with Jake, our amazing engineer here at Radio FM Media, and he kind of said no to the whole Bison 1660 broadcast live from a boat idea, but I'm not just going to stop there. I'm going to be persistent, and we're going to try and make this a summer thing where we broadcast live from our Bison 1660 pontoon, which still needs a name if anyone wants to come up with a name for us.
Yeah, there was a good one. It was Ship, we got to be careful, S-H-I-P, Ship, Faced.
Ship faced.
Yeah, you got to have that long pause so you can truthfully hear that we're not saying anything we're not supposed to say.
Yep. I think I go maybe shipwrecked.
Yeah, that's
would also work possibly. Be a little
like
less crazy.
WREKT.
Yeah,
wrecked.
Exactly, something like that. But if you got a name for our Bison 1660 boat, feel free to send those our way as well. 701-476-1660. What we could call it. Something about Bison in the seas or the waves or something. There's a lot of names out there. I'm just not creative enough on the spot to think of them. We're going to leave it up to Bison Nation. Usually pretty good at all of that stuff. So text BOAT 701-476-1660 for a chance to win some boat show tickets. Let's do a little NFL quotes and notes from around the league. It's obviously NFC AFC Championship week. We won't make this too difficult on Rob since the Cowboys just lost. We got through with that yesterday. You're all good, right?
Yeah, I've got some quotes and notes too to chime in.
Quotes and notes around the league of the NFL. We will do the Ice Bucket Challenge later today. That's going to be on Facebook Live. Rob Hipp's going to pay up for the bet with an ice bucket dropped on his head for the Cowboys' loss. About some notes and quotes around the NFL. And I think the first one for you, what a lot of people are talking about after the divisional round games, that one was Stephon Diggs, former Vikings wide receiver, obviously with the Bills for the last handful of years. We all know what happened. They traded, Stephon Diggs away to the Vikings. They get a pick. They use that pick to draft Justin Jefferson, and the rest writes itself. And JJ's been great. That's a trade that's worked out for both teams, clearly. But after, I believe, not only catching maybe one pass in the second half of their game against the Cincinnati Bengals, you saw Stephon Diggs on the sidelines, very demonstrative, not overly happy about what was going on, saying some things to Josh Allen, who was basically just ignoring him on the sidelines, not really talking to him or listening to what Stephon Diggs was saying and his little, I wouldn't say emotional tirade or anything, but what he was saying. And that's been the thing with Stephon Diggs before. And then the report afterwards that Stephon Diggs left the locker room before reporters were down there, before even some coaches got down on the field, and had to be brought back by a teammate, Duke Johnson, a running back on the team. Had to go track him down, bring him back to the locker room, have him calm down a little bit, and then he left again fairly quickly after that. Didn't really hear from Stephon Diggs much at all. Broke his silence yesterday, though, on Twitter with a couple of tweets. First one saying, "Want me to be okay with losing? Nah." And then the next one, "Want me to be okay with our level of play when it's not up to the standard? Nah." And the last one, "It's easy to criticize my reaction more than the result." Stephon Diggs breaking silence. What do we make of Stephon Diggs on the sideline? Star player, wants the football, didn't get it a ton in that game, and not happy with it.
All I make on is nah. Nah. I mean, it's,
nah.
Star players want the ball. They get paid. They get big bucks. They want to get the ball. That's what they get paid for. And I've never played at that level. I never will play at that level. But I can maybe understand some of the frustration. But is that a leadership thing from the top down? Because I always go back to an organization like the Spurs when you had a guy like Manu Ginobili getting paid well and coming off the bench. He never complained. Do your role. It's part of the game. And some of these guys, they just say, hey, we're making the big bucks. I want to get the ball more. They get frustrated. Nah.
When you don't get the ball, this was his stat line, 4 receptions for 35 yards. So, yeah, didn't have a big effect. He was kind of taken out of the game. When you get to this level, though, in the playoffs, one, you're facing probably the best defenses. Teams like the Vikings with a terrible defense are usually weeded out by this point, and they were. So you're playing one of the top defenses, and you're playing teams that are going to take you away. They're going to do what they can to limit your ability to affect the game. That's what they're trying to do. And sometimes the best thing you can do for your team, if you're Stephon Diggs, is draw a double team that leaves one-on-one coverage for Gabe Davis or Dawson Knox or one of the other receivers, and then that's the big day for somebody else, but we win the game because I took the double coverage all game long, and it doesn't look like much in the stat sheet, but it looks pretty good on the film and to him as an individual. But I understand when, okay, I'm getting double teamed and we're losing, so we're not taking advantage of the open receiver because I'm getting double teamed, and now I'm not getting the ball, and this has happened a couple times in a row. Didn't get the ball a ton against Kansas City the year before, I believe, in their elimination game. They went to overtime and then didn't get the ball hardly at all there against the Bengals. Yeah, I'd be upset too, and I think it's easy for everyone to criticize them because we saw it was kind of the same story in Minneapolis. We got frustrated with Kirk, and that's one of the reasons he got traded away. And he does this as well, and you're going to give him the label of a diva. But man, if I was that kind of guy and I want to win as badly as I know Stephon Diggs wants to win, I'd be a little upset too when this happens, and I'm not getting the impact I feel I can on the game, and then the impact I'm having of drawing the double team. No one's taking advantage of it.
He had 10 targets. He had double-digit targets in this game.
10 targets in the game, though. Okay.
4 catches, 10 targets. Now, you can blame Josh Allen. You can blame Stephon Diggs. You can blame the Bengals just playing for good defense, whatever you want to do. But have control over your emotions. Like, do it in a constructive way instead of yelling at your quarterback.
That's the part.
Uplift him. Do something good for your team. Not yell at your quarterback and just make it about yourself and be like, oh, I'm going to yell at you and be like, you're the bad guy. You're not doing your part. Hey, Stephon Diggs, how about you do something positive for your team when your team is already down because you aren't playing good? Be a positive force on the sideline instead of yelling at your quarterback. You already made that mistake back in Minneapolis.
Yeah, that's the part of it. And I can tell Micah's passionate about this. Stephon
This is
Diggs,
ridiculous.
not happy.
That like he's defending his own actions of not being able to control his emotions.
This is a Micah meltdown.
I like it. The
This is Micah meltdown with the Rick Hoffs rant. It works.
Like, it is, like, control yourself. Do something constructive,
right? On the side, you shouldn't be just yelling and kind of showing up your quarterback on the sidelines. That's maybe post game in the locker room when no reporters are there yet. Be like, man, what are we doing? Like, I get the ball to me, and be a little upset, but in a way where it's not be public or anything like that. You can be frustrated. Maybe Josh was missing him a little bit on some throws. Maybe he was open and felt like he should have been targeted when he was open, and Josh missed him. Maybe that did happen. I don't know. I haven't watched the film, and maybe Josh made some mistakes there. But everyone made mistakes in that game. That's why you got manhandled the way the Bills did, losing 27-10. So doesn't do it in the most constructive ways always. But I also agree with him on a certain aspect of, you want to be okay with losing? No,
we don't want to.
He's a very somewhat emotional person and reactive, but doesn't always do it in the most constructive ways. But I'd rather have that than someone that's like, oh, we're losing. I guess we're done, and doesn't really care a whole bunch.
Can we stay on the notes and quotes and shift gears and talk about one that I have for
Let's
Dallas?
Go. Yes.
All right, well, here we go. Mike McCarthy, many of you have seen this. He got a little frustrated after the game. We'll keep it on kind of that anger streak with players, and it's all about me. This was on For the Win and USA Today, their section called For the Win, and the headline was, a classless, boy, they really hate the Cowboys here, a classless Mike McCarthy was seen pushing a cameraman after embarrassing final play of loss. That was the headline. Now, Noah Bullard, he is a cameraman for NBC DFW. He's been a big Cowboys fan. He's been covering them for years. He was quoted on Twitter after that as saying, "Thank you to everyone that has reached out regarding the Mike McCarthy incident. I can see how the photo appeared like he pushed me, but it was more of a hand to the lens. I did meet with Coach McCarthy privately in his office, and he did apologize." Now, the media has taken this one big time and saying, Mike McCarthy needs to control his emotions. But I can kind of see it from a coaching position. Yeah, you do need to control your emotions, but how many times have we seen players and others put their hand on a camera lens? The way the picture was taken makes it look like this photojournalist was about to fall backwards. But if you watch the video, it didn't look that bad.
People are comparing it to the Devontae Adams thing where this year where Adams literally like pushed a dude down. I think it was like a mic operator or something, like chucked him to the ground, flat out pushed him. There was actually like a lawsuit or something by the guy. This is nothing like that. He put his hand on the camera. It's like he was in an emotional state. Your season just came to an end. He didn't push the guy down. He was still standing. It was fine. We pulled this stuff out of proportion because they're all like, oh, look at the celebrity hurt me. No, he didn't.
It wasn't a push, but I still don't agree that he should be doing that. That guy's getting paid to do his job. Just leave your hands off. Just walk away. Let it be. But still, he should just walk.
Yeah, I like the way the cameraman handled it, too. Like, it wasn't a big deal. Let everybody know. Like, this is whatever. He apologized to me. We're going to move on.
And he's been part of the program for a long time, this photojournalist. I mean, he's been covering the Cowboys. He knows this team. It's emotional. I could see stuff happening. I mean, how many times, like I said, do you see a player non-violently push a camera out of the way? Sometimes I don't want a camera in my face sometimes. Let's be honest.
That's what you sign up for, though. It's part of the job, right? If you're going to get paid what you get paid and you have the following that the Cowboys is America's team, right?
Which they're not.
Then that's something that comes with the territory. If you're going to have a lot of cameras in your face. Next one for you. We'll move on. NFL notes and quotes. We got a quote for you. Some of these are notes. Some of these are quotes. What about Tom Brady? The question everybody's wondering about is he going to come back or is he not going to come back? He's got his Let's Go podcast with Larry Fitzgerald and Jim Gray. And they usually talk about this every single week, and he's going to get asked about it every single week until he makes the decision. Are you coming back? Are you not coming back? This was the interaction on the Let's Go podcast, and it's suitable for air now.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already fucking done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
There you go.
He felt bad about being
nice
mean.
at the end.
He felt bad about being mean to the guy, so he's like,
that's kind of his podcast. Okay. So it's like, it's your podcast where I guess you can kind of control what's talked about, but you can't have that podcast and not ask it. Like that's where Jim Gray, you have to be a pro there. No one, I wouldn't say no one's turning in for anything else. Like they want to hear other things, like how do you think the season went, what went wrong, and that kind of stuff, right? But the main reason everyone's paying attention to that podcast is to hear, have you made a decision? Or what's your timetable? He didn't ask him, what is the decision? He said, what's the timetable? Do you have an idea of, would you like to know by the end of this month, next month, when the draft comes? Like, do you have an idea of when you like to have a decision in your mind? And I think, yeah, again, Tom Reed, when he was maybe overly angry or critical, he's like, okay, well, he has to ask it. I get it. And that's probably something, too. You know, Jim and Tom have a really good relationship. You probably asked him before the show, like, hey, Tom, I know you probably don't want to talk about this, but I have to. Like, I kind of have to ask you this, because if I don't, people are going to be like, Jim, what are you doing? You're not asking the tough questions, so you're just here to be buddies with Tom, basically. You have to ask the tough question. So he did what he had to do to be professional and ask the question, pushed a little bit more, and then just kind of moved off of it. But that's the first time when Tom's really been angry about it. Even last year, he got asked all the time. He just kind of nonchalantly brushed it off, didn't really give you a yes or no. This time he was obviously somewhat angry about it.
It's been a little emotional, Tom, lately. You know, after he threw that pick, he's banging his helmet, banging his head on his hands on his helmet, now getting a little roused up about that question. So, you know, maybe a little cracks there for Tom Brady, but he knows. I mean, it's frustrating. You lose terribly to the Cowboys, and just wasn't the season he wanted. And man, I don't know. It's you got to answer this question. Was he acting unprofessional? And his response, Andy.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Tom? Yeah, probably. It's probably a little unprofessional. But again, it's his whole career, and he's been asked and asked and asked and asked. And when my mom asks me a question for the second time, I get upset.
I don't get upset
like 1,000 times, so I understand it.
Yeah, he could have answered it in a nicer way. Clearly. And he kind of didn't even answer the question because he just asked, Jim Gray just asked for a timetable, and Tom was just like, if I knew what I was going to do, I would have already done it.
Can we read into the answer from Tom about anything? Can you lean one way or the other? Does that make it more likely he's not coming back or is coming back?
I feel like he doesn't want to end his career on a bad loss like that.
I feel like he's angry and motivated right now. He's so upset with how the season ended. He's so angry. There's no chance. I think he's got some pent-up anger. He wants to come back and get that taste out of his mouth. I think that response is more likely he comes back.
I feel like if he comes back, which he probably will, let's be honest, the GOAT's going to come back, but he's not. It's going to be another down season for him. And
he's not going to Tampa.
No, I know, but wherever he ends up with the Raiders, that's been in a discussion. I don't think that's going to happen.
Jets,
okay.
The Jets are a quarterback away.
But wherever he goes, look, they're not going to have a great season. I don't believe.
Well, I'm putting that on the board.
Put it on there.
That's going on the board.
They're not
right
going
now.
I'll say they're not going on the playoffs. Wherever Tom Brady lands, they won't go to the playoffs.
Tom Brady's in the playoffs next year. Put my name on the board with it, and put his opposite.
Yeah, put mine opposite because he's
Next
definitely
year.
not. Wherever he lands, if he plays, he's not going to the playoffs,
Okay.
and that's going to tarnish the end of his career, like I've been talking about here, time and time again.
Now, it would be interesting if he goes somewhere like Denver. That's a tough division. Hard to go to the playoffs in that division. When you got the Chargers and obviously the Chiefs and the Raiders aren't bad. If you go to the 49ers, they're kind of the class of their division right now. Make it a little bit easier, you would think. He's got a lot of good weapons around him. But also, if he goes to the Raiders, I don't think then he might not make the playoffs. There's a rumored location for him is the Raiders with Josh McDaniels. But that would make it tough. I'd probably agree with you there. But I'm just not ready to give up on Tom Brady yet on the field. Again, I don't need him in the booth. I don't need more Tom Brady after his career is done. But the career can keep going for as long as he wants it to. And he has not decided yet, I think. Pretty clear from that response, he has not decided for you. How about one more NFL note and quote for you? Let's go with what happened early this morning. We could talk Patrick Mahomes' ankle, but we'll get more updates on that as the week goes on. I don't think we really need to dive into that because we haven't heard anything. There hasn't been a practice report yet. But the news this morning that the New England Patriots are going to be hiring Bill O'Brien, former offensive coordinator for him, back as the offensive coordinator. It was also the OC for the Alabama Crimson Tide this last year, as their run didn't make the playoffs for college football, but had a very successful season once again. And Bill O'Brien's going to be the offensive coordinator for the Patriots. I think that's very good news for Mac Jones. He was on the verge of making the playoffs with a defensive coordinator calling the plays on offense, which is a nightmare situation for a young quarterback. I think this will be much better for them, and the Patriots are a team. They realize they need to do better on offense. Bill went and hired a guy he likes. That's what he always does. He doesn't hire a new person. It has to be someone that's worked with them before. He hired him. I think that's good news for Mac Jones.
Great news for Mac Jones because you could argue Mac Jones stayed the same or actually regressed this year because of who was on the offense as the personnel and also the coaching. Matt Patricia, I wouldn't say he's an offensive guru. He should stick to the defensive side, in my opinion. Not a good slate these past couple of years for Matt Patricia with the Lions and Patriots.
Well, Mass Live's Mark Daniels said the situation is, quote, the best of both worlds for Jones. Daniels wrote this, and this isn't, jaw-dropping news. According to one source close to Jones, the Patriot quarterback is, quote, unquote, very excited about O'Brien coming back to New England. Another source close to the Patriots quarterback told Mass Live that Jones is, quote, looking forward to working with Coach O'Brien.
Wow. It's shocking.
Jaw-dropping
I was
news.
hoping Matt he would come out and say, I'm extremely disappointed in the hire. I'm not looking forward to it at all, and I'm going to pout in the corner. That would have been a better quote.
There's your jaw-dropping quotes. He's very excited.
I wonder if Matt goes back to the defensive side, or is he just out of a job? Because Bill's son is the defensive coordinator.
There we go, co-defensive coordinator. You do that bit or something like that. But you can't have Matt Patricia calling the plays. That was horrendous. It was bad. They never moved the ball, never did anything. All they did was run the football. That's why Mac Jones was caught on the sidelines, during the season. Stop running the you-know-what ball. Stop running the bleep ball. Running game's not working. Let's throw the ball or something like that. And then kept saying it.
The backup plan for the Patriots, if Patricia wasn't going to call plays, it was going to be Bill Belichick calling offensive plays, which I would have been very interested in that, because Bill could use his defensive brain and be like, I think the defense could do this, so I'm just going to. You could call offensive plays that way.
He would just ran the ball. Absolutely. It's best for my defense. We would just run the ball, get the clock out, hopefully get some first downs, eat up the clock, and ball control. It would have been Mike Zimmer-esque. Would have been very close to that. I have a feeling if Bill Belichick was calling the plays. There you go. NFL notes and quotes. Try and do that maybe every week or so as we get through the rest of the NFL season and then into the Major League Baseball, NBA. Do some notes and quotes for you as well through the worldwide of sports. Take a break. We'll come back, wrap things up here for you. Again, text the keyword BOAT 701-476-1660 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Boat Show coming up on this weekend, the 27th through the 29th at the Fargo Dome. More of the Insiders brought to you by Proceed when we come back.
Bison Nation, your exclusive home for North Dakota State Athletics. Bison 1660.
Rick Electric wants to say thanks for a great 2022 and looks forward to serving you and all new customers in the new year. Plus, Rick Electric wants to say thanks for voting them the best electrical contractor in the Red River Valley. Since 1964, Rick Electric has been serving homeowners and businesses with troubleshooting, repairs, new construction, and over a dozen projects in my home. Rick Electric. Schedule online or request an estimate at rickelectric.com.
Sight on Sound knows car audio and its evolution over time. For the longest time, it was basically like listening to a conch shell. Then things got better with stereophonic sound. Then HD was next. Until now, high-res audio. Your sound system has never sounded this crisp, this clear. And you'll find all the cutting-edge sounds at Sight on Sound. With products fully in stock, a trip to Sight on Sound has never sounded better. Sight on Sound, Main Avenue, Fargo.
Bring it on home from Sight on Sound.
We take great pride in really doing all the research and the work behind the scenes to make sure that our products just work.
We have our own staff member that helps pick the hybrids and the varieties that work in our area. It's meant for you, not for somebody 200 miles away.
We test our seed locally. We produce our seed locally, so we get to see our production fields, where they need to be, and if they work there.
Need seed? Think Proceed. Proceed.net. Great seed at a reasonable price.
Hey, this is Brent Wilson, the general manager of Corwin Toyota, and boy, do I have news for you. After 2 years of inventory issues, the wait is over. A selection of new Toyotas are on the lot, and I have over 100 new units arriving soon. I don't want these units sitting on my lot, so when you purchase any in-stock unit, I'll give you an extra $500. Apply it to your trade, price of your new car, or use it in our aftermarket department. Choice is yours. All incoming inventory is listed now at CorwinToyota.com. Just log on, pick the model and features you want, and call us to reserve it. Head over to CorwinToyota.com today to secure your new Toyota.
Turn up the heat with a bowl of brisket chili or green chili chicken soup to celebrate National Soup Month at Twin Peaks. And no one does happy hour like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, we have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu second to none. And don't forget about our 29-degree man-sized drafts. Twin Peaks eats, drinks, scenic views.
Sight on Sound knows car audio and its evolution over time. For the longest time, it was basically like listening to a conch shell. Then things got better with stereophonic sound. Then HD was next. Until now, high-res audio. Your sound system has never sounded this crisp, this clear. And you'll find all the cutting-edge sounds at Sight On Sound. With products fully in stock, a trip to Sight On Sound has never sounded better. Sight On Sound, Main Avenue, Fargo.
Bring it on home from Sight On Sound.
Hey Bison Nation, Andy Reckoff here, and I just wanted to take a moment to say we absolutely love our Thoroldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Love being there every day to bring you the very latest with NDSU athletics, but we're not the only ones that like to be in the studio.
Michael Tutsi with us here live in studio.
Scott Anderson joining us, Director of Multimedia, NDSU.
The athletic director's inside the studio. Matt Larson's joining us. I told you we weren't the only ones. Fuel your future and join the growing team at Thoroldson Ethanol today by going online to ThoroldSonEthanol.com.
Rick Electric wants to say thanks for a great 2022 and looks forward to serving you and all new customers in the new year. Plus, Rick Electric wants to say thanks for voting them the best electrical contractor in the Red River Valley. Since 1964, Rick Electric has been serving homeowners and businesses with troubleshooting, repairs, new construction, and over a dozen projects in my home. Rick Electric. Schedule online or request an estimate at rickelectric.com.
With 6 crunchy beef tacos plus a pound of potato olays, our 6-pack in a pound is perfect for date night, movie night, 1,000-piece puzzle night, camping, tailgates, payday, birthdays, or any day that ends in Y.
The 6-pack in a pound, now $2 off, only from Taco John's.
True taco lovers can't say Tuesday without thinking taco, especially at the home of Taco Tuesday, Taco John's. So this taco, head to Tuesday John's for Taco Tuesday for $1.19 deals on delicious beef Tuesdays. Tacos. Taco John's.
Snow, ice, and below zero temps. Typical Midwest weather, but not so kind to your vehicle. That's why Jiffy Lube of Fargo is here to make sure you have your vehicle in top working condition and ready for these winter roads and temps. Oil changes are the #1 maintenance item that's neglected. At Jiffy Lube of Fargo, no appointment needed at any of the 3 locally owned locations. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, where you can do more in a jiffy. Jiffy Lube of Fargo, proudly serving the metro area for 5 decades.
Dakota Refrigeration, now known as DRI, has been serving Minnesota, the Dakotas, and Montana for over 4 decades. Locally owned and operated since 1974, DRI is a full-service source for your refrigeration, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and electrical service needs. From the entryway to the kitchen, from hot to cold, from dreary to bright, DRI has you covered. DRI, formerly Dakota Refrigeration, with locations in Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot, online at DACREF.com.
In 1953, Bill Samuels created a simple bourbon, while Margie Samuels worked on her creative vision. A bottle hand-dipped in red wax, wrapped in a hand-cut label, filled with handcrafted bourbon that elevated flavor and remains unchanged as of today. Aromas of woody oak, caramel, and vanilla, with a taste that is sweet and balanced with caramel, vanilla, and fruity essences. Every barrel of Maker's Mark is aged to taste, not time. Maker's Mark, the star of your home bar. Please drink responsibly.
Are you ready to take your pet's food to a whole new level? Nutrisource Pet Foods has a new spin on kombucha, and it's for your dog. Now introducing Kombucha, the perfect topper for your dog's food. Kombucha is available in 3 delicious flavors: chicken, turkey, and beef. Your pet'll love the bone broth, and the health benefits are great. It supports digestive health, hydration aid, contains postbiotics, and palatability support. All you need to do is pour over food, add water, and serve. Find out more and find a retailer at NutrisourcePetFoods.com.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin and I'm the general manager at Corwin Honda. I wanted to let you know that the wait is finally over and I have over 50 new 2022 pilots ready to sell, and I don't want these sitting on my lot. So right now, I'll take up to $2,000 off all 2022 pilots, and you can get financing as low as 1.9%. That's right, up to $2,000 off and financing as low as 1.9%. So come visit us over at Corwin Honda or shop online today at corwinauto.com.
This is Jory Collins, head women's basketball coach at NDSU.
We're trying to get this program to a point where we can compete for Summit League championships and hopefully play in the in-state tournament. I mean, that's the entire goal.
You are listening to The Insiders on Bison 1660.
Welcome back to The Insiders inside our Thoroldson Ethanol Broadcast Center. Online at ThoroldSonEthanol.com. 175 million gallons of ethanol per year, roughly 400 tons of livestock feed per year as well. proud partners with Summit Carbon Solution, trying to eliminate that carbon in the air, carbon capture, affect the carbon footprint in North Dakota. So Therose and Ethanol bringing you all of our coverage inside of our great studio here. We love this place, and I love being inside of it. And here with you, once again, Andy Rickoff, Rob Hipp, and Micah Bindi. Back with you again tomorrow. Mark Willard from out in San Francisco will be joining us as the 49ers take on the Eagles. Get a little NFC Championship perspective from the 49ers. He'll be joining us tomorrow on the show. Also reaching out to and trying to effort some Cincinnati Bengals riders as the Bengals take on the Chiefs in Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. Obviously, Cordell Volson, all they got, all they need on that offensive line that's been full of injuries, but they still got number 67 out there. Cordell, who's having a great rookie year, and I'm very much looking forward to whenever this season ends for Cordell, getting him on to talk about this awesome run. Year one, and you make it to an AFC title game, that's great.
And he's also had an excellent year. Played every snap on the offense, has been graded out very, very well by PFF, improved throughout the year. You hear his coaches, the other offensive linemen, talking about how much where he started and where he's gotten to this year. Great stuff.
Yeah, and then, to have someone that was drafted not in the first 2 rounds or something, but has been playing every game and started every game, that's really, really good value. It's a great home run hit for the Bengals. They've loved him in that locker room. I think he's making an impact in that community like Cordell does. And I think next week as well, the Senior Bowl gets going, and you get to see the impact of some players for NDSU at the Senior Bowl, like Cody Malkin, seeing what he can do against the best competition. That's really where Christian Watson took off, and really where his launching pad was, I felt like, when he killed it at the Senior Bowl and was invited to the Combine, I believe, during the Senior Bowl week, and really took off there as being a possible first-round player. And we'll see if Cody Malkin have a similar trajectory. Already going to be going to the Combine. We know that for Cody, but maybe his stock takes off even more from being top 100 guy to, oh man, he's first-round dude. Maybe back into the first round, first couple picks of the second round type of dude. Maybe.
The draft starts in Mobile.
There you go. Jim Nagy over there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, we were talking earlier, Andy, are we going to get this kind of, Bison 1660 Pro Bison underway this year? Where we're out there running.
Oh, Bison 1660 Pro Day?
Yeah, are we doing that?
I think we can. I think we just make Micah, we make Micah do it all.
Am I doing I'm doing the activities. Yeah. I think I'd test pretty well.
Okay.
I'm the youngest.
What would you get in a 40?
I think I could get a 4.
Oh, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. No,
4.8.
You started it with a 4. You're dumb.
4.8.
Not a chance in the world. Not a chance in the world.
I'd surprise you.
Okay.
Mine will be
We got to time this now. 4.8?
4.8. I'm under 5. I'm under 5.
Breaking 5.
I'm under 5.
No, sir.
Honestly, this is embarrassing to say, but I would probably be like a 10 or a 13. I'd be out of breath, man.
I said a couple of years ago when me and Jeff were at an elite camp, and one of the NDSU IDE elite camps, I was like 5'3". I said, I'm not dumb enough to think I'm breaking 4. You ain't breaking. You ain't or breaking 5.
I'm gonna break 5.
You ain't breaking 5.
We're doing it.
I was like, nowadays, and I pulled my hamstring a couple times this last summer, so now I know, dude, I'm like a 5'6", 5'7". I'm okay with it. You're not breaking 5. Now we're doing it for sure. I was on the fence about doing it. Now we're doing it.
No,
for
we're
sure.
doing it. I want to do
on it. 100%.
I want to do it. Hey, a little bit later today.
Do the bench press. All that.
Speaking of things, I'll stay away from the weights though, because that's going to be
we'll lower the weight a little bit.
No,
probably.
dude, it's very embarrassing.
We can go to 125 instead of 225 that they do at the pro.
Go to
day.
like 50 for me, and I'll be fine.
That's
do the
just
bar.
The bar.
Yeah,
the bar.
Exactly, man. I was one of 2 kids back in junior high. We could only lift the bar. It was embarrassing. Those were good days. I just let out something there I probably shouldn't have let out. But
you ever do like the flex arm hang or anything?
I weighed like 80 pounds.
It's all about progress.
Yeah.
Wherever you start, you just go
Long
up from there.
time ago.
Yep.
Later today, Facebook Live.
1660 Pro Day.
I made a mistake of talking about my Cowboys that they were just going to beat San Francisco. Now I got to pay for it. When are we throwing that down? Maybe like 4:30?
I'm thinking between 4 and 4:30 today.
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. If you don't already follow us on Facebook, you're missing out. Follow us, Bison1660 on Facebook. Go like the page. If you like the page and you're following it, you'll get the notification when we go live. Around 4 to 4:30, we'll go live. Rob Hipp is going to pay up on the Ice Bucket Challenge for the Cowboys losing their game against the 49ers. We're going to dump a bucket of ice water on them, a little Ice Bucket Challenge type of thing there for you, and you'll pay up.
I'll be barefoot, and I've brought a change of clothes. So I'm ready for this.
A towel?
Yeah, I brought a towel. Everything's good to go. Bridget told me, take that towel. She wouldn't let me take the nice towel.
Yeah, and you're walking home afterwards, right?
I'm not walking home. If I walk home, you won't hear from me for a month. I'll be in the hospital.
Probably. We don't want that. We'll let you drive home, but we're definitely going to put the very cold, plenty of ice bucket challenge. Me and Michael will have to maybe lift that thing together, possibly. So there you go. That's the show for you. As we go to the end of the show here, Appreciate everybody listening in. Thanks to Brian Sean. Always love B-Sean joining us. Josh Sash, assistant coach. Appreciate him very much as well, joining us on the show. Again, tomorrow, Mark Willard, working on some other guests as well, but we're talking plenty of NFL and plenty of NDSU basketball. Maybe have Noah Pauley on. We'll reach out. Try to have Noah Pauley on this week, too. Appreciate his work here at NDSU. Looking forward to his future. But as we end the show, let's give away another pair of tickets. We'll do it again. One more pair of tickets. Call us up, 701-476-1660, for your chance to win 2 tickets to NDSU men's basketball versus UND Friday night. We'll go caller 4 once again. Wins 2 tickets to NDSU and UND. And also our winner of the boat show tickets this time around is Mike L. in Fargo. That's the winner of the boat show tickets. We'll talk with you again tomorrow on the show, 11 to 1. Horns up. Go Bison.
It's a new year and a great time to remind you that you should have 2 routine dental visits a year. The best way to stop dental issues is to detect them early or stop them from happening in the first place. It's Amanda, and I smile with confidence because of the team at About Smiles Dental. They've been caring for my family's smiles for years. At About Smiles Dental, their name says it all. Your smile is their top priority. Plan ahead and call now to book your appointments. We love the team at About Smiles Dental, and you will too.
Experience is what builds the future of glass at Cardinal IG in Fargo. Cardinal IG is leading the industry in the development of superior glass for the residential window industry. Their highly motivated and talented employees design and manufacture the best glass in the industry. This January, Cardinal IG would like to say thank you to Araz Khalid, who is celebrating 10 years, and to Cyril Dermian and Teresa Arap, who are celebrating their first year at Cardinal IG. To view open positions or to apply, visit cardinalfargo.com.
Keeping a home clean with kids who play hockey, the dog, cat, it can be a real challenge. You just never know what is going to be next. And trust me, there will be a next. The Stomatic specialists are trained to remove contaminants and dirt that are lodged deep in the fibers of your carpet. When we are done, your home will feel and smell like brand new. We even clean the drapes, upholstery, and air ducts.